Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, adventurers and monsters. Yep, it's Friday. It's time for us to be doing some more development of this very curious document all about turning Warframes into D&D monsters. Hello, one and all. How are we all doing today? Hello, hello, hello. Hello there, Carcop. Hello, Cruiser Destroyer. Hello, Zet. Hello, He-Hope. Welcome to the channel. Hello, Elliot. Hello, Brotheroni. Hello, Gorilla. How are we all doing? Hello, Ladybug. I know it's coming, Carcop, so it's there ready for you. I know it's coming, and if you don't do it, well, now I'm just going to have to find another way to take the points off you. But I know it's coming. Welcome in, everyone. Yeah, so it's been voted for 5 weeks in a row now. This is, it's quite the streak we got going on here.
We keep on marching on. Also hydrate.
There it is, says hydrate, but this time in sub form. Caracop resubscribed now onto 5 months. Here we are on 5 weeks of Warframe, says D&D Monsters, so 5 weeks of D&D-ish, I guess, and 5 months of sub from Caracop. That is amazing. Thank you very much, dude, for continuing your support there. So yeah, for those of you who missed it last time or just haven't seen it at all before, in the Warframe doc we have now got Excalibur, we have got Mag, we have got Volt, we have got Ash, we have got Atlas, including Atlas's Rumbler right at the very end there. And I've got a whole bunch of space I can use on that page for something else Atlas related to something somewhere along the line, potentially. Maybe. Might even put a variant in there for the different augments you can get for Rumblers. Something that could be done, but otherwise I do consider these, at least mechanically, these 5 sets of Warframes, one for each tier of play, to be done. So, today, we're getting on with Banshee. Let me just scroll all the way down. All the way down, create us a new page. Oh, that's supposed to be, there we are. And that's where we're going to get started onto Banshee. And of course, Banshee being the silent type, passive silence, third ability silence as well. What I'm thinking is that Banshee could end up being more of a support monster. So one where their actual attacks and defenses are all just lower, but instead their abilities are force multipliers. So that is the kind of monster that you throw in amongst other stuff, and suddenly either everyone on their side is better, or everyone on your side is worse. Very much a force multiplier. Carcop needed to make you hydrate considering new title in squad. I mean, yeah, I do see you gave yourself the title of Hydrate Master. Absolutely, yep. Brother, were we going to add the variant encounters like a Basilisk and Atlas? So I was going to add on the suggested encounters later on down the line. I know I've already done that for a number of the frames already. But yeah, that's not a huge focus for me. I've not been looking at this document since last week because I've got other things I've had to get on with, quite frankly. The video that I want to get out tomorrow is delayed because it is such a big project. This is going to be the longest ever video I have put out in terms of Warframe videos, so it's taking longer than I hoped to make it as well. But we'll get there. We'll get there. You're in alphabetical order, asked Gorilla? Kind of. I did the starter frames first. I did Excalibur, I did Mag, and then Volt.
Thanks
and
to
then I've gone to alphabetical.
31 Emperor 0R for my continued sub-gift. Hey Ken. Hey chat. I am actually going to my first ever D&D session this Sunday. No homebrew unfortunately, so no Warframes.
Hey, if it's your first ever, you don't need to go straight into homebrew territory. In fact, I strongly recommend anyone who's starting out and joining a group or creating a group, starting off by the book is the best way to do it. So there you are, Space Cadet, on to your second month of that 6-month gifted sub you got there from Demon Emperor. You enjoy that, Space Cadet, both the sub and your D&D. Oh. And yeah, I'm feeling good today. I am feeling good. The illness that has passed through this household has just kind of glanced off me, so I'm doing alright. I am indeed doing alright. As I say, been waiting for Banshee. As other than newfound level levels, Banshee's my all-time favourite. I mean, fair do. Fair do. Carcop saying, it seems ironic this Banshee is science-focused opposed to classic one with the ear-piercing screech. Well, we got the 4 ability still to work towards. And the fact there's Sonic Boom on the first ability, and Sonar on the second. You know what? Banshee is kind of all over the place about noise or no noise. It's really a bit of both, the more you think about it. It really is a bit of both. Anyway, to get started on that, I'm going to need to copy from up here, the Atlas Initiate. We'll use that as a launching point to get cracking on with Banshee. Because that just gives me a nice workable template to get straight into that. Also at the start, I have the introduction of a Warframe, and I've got to copy that bit as well. Oops. Yeah, it's going to be double Ash, Banshee, and then into description. Also a passive silent single gun noise? Yeah, we said about that. So Banshee's a bit all over the place in terms of that, but let's get onto the general description. Do not let your senses fool you. It is here. You simply cannot hear it. Banshee is a master of sound waves, able to manipulate them both offensively and defensively, even able to shut down nearby magic entirely, because the silence ability. I'll get onto that. Use more. It's what you don't hear coming that kills you. There we are. I think that's a good intro for it. I think that's a good general starting intro for Banshee. Do not let your senses fool you. It is here. You simply cannot hear it. Banshee is a master of sound waves, able to manipulate them both offensively and defensively, even able to shut down nearby magic entirely. It's what you don't hear coming that kills you. Yeah. Yeah, I think that covers that. Rainer saying, actually the origins of Banshee is the Strigoi, which gave peace to dying people who are peaceful nature, and terror to the souls who are bloody by nature. Okay. Are we talking like Warframe Banshee or a different Banshee? You said about how we're going to need brackets Warframe. We're definitely going to need that when we're talking about the actually origins. Because it can come all over the place at that point. Headphones can have noise suppression, why not avoid demon? Alright, so let's get cracking on with the actual stats. Now, of course, the Banshee Initiate is not going to be anything truly terrifying, but we'll take it from that. Banshee Initiate is obviously still medium monstrosity, still neutral evil. That stuff doesn't change. But as I say, Banshee being a support caster is going to be weaker and is going to be less damaging than their challenge rating would suggest. Both of those values will be down because instead Banshee is going to be more generally devastating. Zez asking, would a pass make it where her spells don't use verbal components so she can stealth cast? Actually, none of the Warframes use components for their spell casting. I've given them spells and bonus actions and whatnot, but they don't actually use components because they are innate, with the sole exception of Excalibur, who by design requires a longsword as a material component. So it can innately cast the following spell whilst holding a longsword. None of the others have such a restriction. That is explicitly and specifically a nerf and counter to Excalibur. But for everything else, now. So the lack of verbal component isn't a problem. Instead, the way I'm going to be going with Banshee is to make it where everything that Banshee does is just simply inaudible. All of it, which is Banshee's passive. You want to hear where Banshee's footsteps are going? Tough, you can't. Perception checks relying on hearing to detect where Banshee's gone? You can't. There's nothing to hear. Just straight up gone. Asking, I mean, how would you take away Ember's ability to cast any other fire abilities? Well, you could make it some kind of staff or gem or wand. That doesn't fit into Warframe, does it? It's not what we're doing here. So, in terms of stats, starting off with this one at challenge rating 4, as I say, keeping all the stats actually on the lower side. So I'm going to go for an armor class of 13 hit points. I'm going to aim for around about 60 because that is challenge rating 3-ish. So I'm aiming for 13 and 60. We'll figure out exactly how that works out in a bit. And then there's the initial stats to throw together. So, over on Atlas, I had the 16 strength, 10 dex, etc. Banshee is not 16 strength. Banshee's going to be a 10 strength. Dex, I am happy to put that as to a +2. Con, definitely down. How far down? You know what, all the way down. All the way down. 10. Flat 0. Just as, what's the word? Just as enduring as a commoner at that point. Oh yeah, absolutely. Banshee is going to be on the weaker side. However, Banshee has very good intelligence. And Banshee's going to have the wisdom to make up for this as well. Now, my little cheat sheet here for the way I've been setting up initiates have a total of a +3 bonus to get them started. Yep, total of a +3 bonus to get them started. So, with that in mind, we've got +2, +3, -3, so that is missing a +1, so I can bring up the wiz to 12. For a +1. And that gives the same amount of pluses for all of the initiates. Basically, so first D&D character is a Warforged Cleric, Tank Healer. That's going to be tanky, yeah. Warforged and Cleric. Alright. That's definitely going to have quite a bit of oomph behind it in terms of survivability, yeah. Alright, skills. I mean, it's got to be stealth. Stealth has got to be one of the skills. There's no two roads about it. Banshee has the stealth skill. Other one then, I'm actually going to go with perception, which alphabetically actually goes before stealth. I know this is actually a little bit min-maxing in terms of skillage, but that's because Banshee is meant to be support, so skills are more Banshee Sing. So the proficiency on top of that gives +3 and +4. I mean, it's not amazing skills, but it's still there. Your starting armor class is 30. Space Cadet, that's incorrect. I don't even need to look at your character sheet or know anything more about your character to know that is incorrect. Your starting armor class is not 31. Sorry to let you know that, but that's absolutely not possible if you're playing 5th edition. It sounds like you are. If you're not playing 5th edition, fair enough. But if you are, there's no way that's happening. I'd love to know what's the numbers there, but either you're not playing 5th edition or you or your DM has messed up. I'm happy to help out on that, by the way. I know that D&D is not exactly rules light. It tries to have the idea of being, you know, on the slimmer side compared to some RPGs, but no, it's not. Did I add Dex score rather than Dex mod? What? Where? S3 where? Or are you asking Space Cadet? Because you didn't add them. Yeah, you're asking Space Cadet. You must be. Alright, so bullet jump. Let's make sure we got the stats on this correct now. The bullet jump is actually going to be very tiny for Banshee. Only a 6-foot vertical, which is honestly pretty embarrassing for a Warframe. But there you are. It's based off strength. Strength has to be there. If we don't have the strength, then we just don't have the bonuses. So, yeah. Banshee only gets those for bullet jump stats. And she has the opposite of Yeet. And the general passive on this one is going to be... I don't want to say silenced, because I'm going to be using silence as an ability, so silence is really there. Inaudible existence. Soundless form. Soundless form? Soundless form could work. Deafened? Deafened's wrong way around. Deafened is you can't hear, not can't be heard. Muffled. Muffled doesn't give the indication of complete silence. Noiseless. Noiseless and soundless is kind of where I'm going, but we want the full name, not just half a word. Silent killer. Again, Banshee's more of a support. Also, again, silence. I want to use something that's not silent base for the word. Muted. Muted feels... well, muted, frankly. Muted feels flat, mundane. Like a dulled feeling. Whereas Banshee, it's the more sinister, which is why I'm going for the soundless, was why I've landed on soundless form so far. It's that sinister feeling. First of all, the form, it gives it almost an otherworldly touch. Almost something a soundless form. As I say, the soundless, it's silent by another name, but it's all about creating that vibe. Every bit of creating a monster is important because you need to create the vibe of them. Yeah, so let's see what smells here. So basically, unless I misread, armor replaces your base AC instead of adding to it. Yeah. Yeah. Replaces. Like, fully replaces. Yeah. AC 10 plus 2 dex mod. No. If you got chainmail, it's just 16 from your chainmail, 2 from shield, 1 plus warforged. So your dex mod just isn't there because you're using heavy armor. That's why the medium and light say plus dex mod. So you would just have a 19. I say just, 19 is still ridiculously high. If you want to compare on just how high 19 is, let me see here. Atlas Adept, challenge rating 10. This is designed as a medium encounter for a group of level 10 players. If you're level, say, 8, this would be potentially a boss fight. Armor class 19. 19 is ridiculously tough. Going to something more fighty, let's say with Ash the Assassin. Armor class over only 13 at Initiate, and at the top end, Ash Prime still only 17. And this is checked against the numbers. This is correctly built and all that lot. Ash Prime, armor class 17. Challenge rating 20. 19 AC is high. Doesn't matter what your level is, 19 is high. So yeah, don't worry about it. Ash is not a straight fight frame? No, I never said he was. I said he was the assassin. Assassin uses rogue kind of approaches, which is light armor, which is usually lower values than you can get with maxed out AC approaches. Yeah, I mean, you're speaking the obvious there, Coracle. Alright then, so Banshee, continue on with that. Speed, stats, senses, passive perception is going to be 13, language common. I'm going to aim again for the challenge rating 4, so we can just leave that as is. Bullet jump, talent form. Now we need the first spell. And that first spell is, of course, Sonic Boom. Spell, one action, and then let's just delete all of this. Now for this one, we can actually just straight up lift Thunderwave. Basically, because Banshee's Sonic Boom, we just pop into the abilities here on the wiki, is basically Thunderwave, except once you get it up to top tier, it's got high range, of course. But it's basically Thunderwave, the 5e spell. So we can pretty much use this as a jumping off point. And this is only a first level spell. It has a 15-foot cube area. Now, what I can do with that is I can transmute that a bit to fit Banshee's style more. Because Banshee casts in a cone, not a cube. So I can turn that into a cone. And I'm actually going to bump up the range on that a bit. Just so Banshee actually affects a more consistent area. So I'm going to make it a 20-foot cone, I believe, would be more suitable for Banshee style. Does thunder damage? Wouldn't Sonic be more bludgeoning? So, in the game here, it uses impact, sure. This uses thunder damage, and I'm quite happy to go with thunder. Sonic isn't a thing in 5e, no. Thunder is effectively the replacement for Sonic. We go, Thunder 5e. I just have... Okay, damage types. I just want a description of it. I just want a description. Okay, this is every freaking thing ever. Someone just give a simple explanation. A concussive burst of sound, such as the effect of Thunderwave spell, deals some damage. A concussive burst of sound. I mean, that works, right? Hold on. Does it describe it in the player's handbook? I mean, it should. It should describe it in the player's handbook, but where? Just to make sure I get the official, I might as well just go for the player's handbook, but where in here does it say what thunder damage is officially? Because I'm like 99% certain it's what I want, but you know what? Thunder damage, see damage types. Oh god, I hate the index for this. Damage types is 4 pages to the left. Damage types 196. They could have just put Thunder 196, but no, they said see damage types, and then that just says 196. Like, how hard was that? Thunder. Yeah, it's the same. They quoted from the book. A concussive burst of sound, such as the effect of Thunder Wave's spell. Yeah. Thunder's not equal lightning? No, yeah. Thunder is definitely not lightning. Thunder is thunder and lightning is lightning. If someone tries to tell you that lightning and thunder are the same thing in anything ever, either the maker of that game has completely forgotten how the world works, or the person you're speaking to is an idiot. Because lightning is lightning, it's electricity. Thunder is the shockwave, the sonic boom from the superheating of the air. It's two entirely different things. D&D, the only people who've read the rulebooks are lawyers? Oh. No. No. You do not want to be pitching that to anyone, Esprit. You do not give any player ever the excuse to not read the books. If you're one of those players who goes, I'm going to play a game without knowing what the rules are, shame on you. I'm calling you out specifically. Shame on you. You play D&D without even checking the rules? Nuh-uh. Get out of here with that. It is not just for their rules lawyers. The rule books are for people who want to play a game rather than just sit around a table drinking beer. Very different things. Alright then, so Sonic Boom spell, 1 action. Banshee extends a hand forwards and projects a wave. Thunderous of I said thunder, I put thunder wave. Thunderous. That's how you spell it. Thunderous. There we go. Energy in a 20-foot cone. All enemies within this area must make a Constitution. No, it'll be a Strength, wouldn't it? What do they use for Thunder Wave? Oh, it's Constitution. Okay. Constitution. Saving throw. DC yet to be figured out. Exactly, Space Cadet. Yeah, look. If even songs, pop songs, can tell the difference between lightning and thunder, although they say thunderbolts, which I actually know. Never mind. I was about to say because they separated, but then they say thunderbolts. Thunder isn't a bolt. Okay. The English language. Don't even try it. Well, it's more than knockback I was thinking of, Gorilla, but yeah. So, all enemies within this area must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, on a failed save, the target takes, and we'll figure out the amount of damage in a moment. The target takes an amount of damage and is knocked back 15 feet and falls prone. On a successful save, target takes only half damage. No, it's half damage only. It's not suggesting that the damage is low, only half damage. It's suggesting that the damage is all that happens, half damage only. And I know that is nitpicking, but grammatically speaking, that's the way it should be around. That's my understanding there. Hello, Grumpy Pants. How you doing? Just want to say for chat, 3D Affinity Boost event started. Oh, there we go. More affinity for everyone. 50 feet and prone. That's rough. It's supposed to be rough, Esprit. It's supposed to be rough, yes. That is exactly the point, which is why I can keep the damage kind of low. but I can keep the damage kind of low. So, innate spellcasting. The Banshee's innate spellcasting ability is Intelligence, as standard for Warframes. DC is going to be 13. Spell attack bonus is going to be a 5, so the spells are higher, but that's all. It can innately cast the following spell, which is going to be Sonic Boom. And this is going to be second level, so that's what makes it harder to deal with than Thunderwave. It is supposed to be more devastating. So I first say, hello Ken, thank you for your YouTube content, truly great work. Well, thank you very much, and welcome to the Twitch channel. As you can see, we're doing not quite Warframe today, but welcome in all the same. It's basically saying my Warforger is the personality of someone like Apex Pathfinder. Oh, that's going to be wholesome. Perhaps a little too wholesome at times, but that's the fun of it. That is the fun of it. So, let's see then. According to the guide reference I have here, I'm aiming for around challenge rating 3 for damage, on average. So we're looking for an average of 20 damage per turn over 3 turns. Might even go slightly lower than that, but we'll work with that. So, I'm actually going to come back to this one in terms of the damage. I'm going to come back to this one. I'm going to figure out the rest of the weapons that Banshee's going to have available, how much that adds up to, and that will then dictate how much I can get out of Sonic Boom. Because I want a total of 60 damage over 3 turns. So that's what we're aiming for there to balance that all out. So, in terms of actions, I'm tempted to not give Banshee a multi-attack, but then Banshee probably won't be too dangerous with a multi-attack, so I should be able to save with that. Let's see how it pans out. Multi-attack, Banshee makes 2 attacks with its... We'll go short sword and light crossbow, I think. Short sword or light crossbow. Hello Raptor, my Friday's been good, hopefully it's been well for you as well. I'm making progress on the next video. The video is not going to come out tomorrow, there's no way I can get it done in time for a release tomorrow. I intend to have it out for Sunday, but it's a very big topic. The video's looking to be probably like 24 minutes long. Yeah. Bullet still says Atlas. Ah yeah, thank you. Thank you for the catch on that. Alright, so short sword melee weapon attack +5 is actually a +4 to hit on this approach. Hits 1 target, and short sword is 1d6 +2 in this case, which is an average of only 5 damage, and that is going to be piercing. Boom. And then we have the light crossbow. A ranged weapon attack. Oops, where'd the L come from? That is also a +4 to hit. The reach on that one is actually a range. It's light crossbow 5e. What's the range on that? Yeah, the next video is going to be about the Sentinels, Carl. You're very right. It's going to be about the Sentinels. Light crossbow has a range of 8320. Not bad, not bad. Okay. Range 8320. Is it just 8320? Yeah. I think you just put 8320. Let me check. What did I put for other stuff? No, you put feet. And 1 target. Anyone curious as to how 8320 is a range? What that means is that out to 80 feet, Banshee can attack normally. Beyond 80 feet up to 320, Banshee can attack with disadvantage, rolling twice, taking the worst result. Beyond 320 feet, Banshee simply cannot hit the target. What I'm doing today is I am turning Warframes into D&D monsters. This is 5th edition design. So, working on Banshee Initiate at the moment. Banshee is the 6th of the Warframes I'm adding in. Every Warframe is getting 4 tiers. We got the Primes, the Masters, the Adepts, and the Initiates. In descending order of levels there. So we're working on adding Banshee today. Length for a heavy video? Yep, it's going to be Karakop. It's going to be. I'm designing the video from a kind of a new to mid-player perspective. So, starting right off at the very bottom with Taxon, and then working all the way up through all 10 Sentinels. Yep, there's 10 of them, believe it or not. All of the weapons, except for we don't need to care about most of the weapons, so it's just the 10 Sentinels, the most important weapons, all of the unique precepts, and then I'll give a couple builds at the end as well. Yeah, Cosmo, there's 10. So you got Taxon, Death Cube, Diriger, Worm, Shade, Carrier, Helios, Jin, Verglass, Oxalus. And then we don't count the 5 variants because they're variants. The Primes and the Prism are the variants. There goes, come on, chill, chill, chill. I was finishing a sentence. Chill. Did I say Verglass, Nautilus, Oxalus? Well, okay, fair enough. I did get it wrong. Verglass is the Sentinel. Let's face it, no one cares about Nautilus. No one does. This is how little people care about Nautilus. Nautilus sells Warframe market for almost as much as you can just buy it from the market, like from D themselves. And when you do that, you also get the slots and you get the Orokin Reactor and Catalyst installed. So, like, seriously. Yeah. You've got Diriger and Jin existed, and after the video comes out, you'll forget them again, Cosmo. You'll forget them again. Anyway, spoilers. Let's get on with this stuff now. Hit of a light crossbow is, again, it's a 1d6, isn't it? Oh, it's 1d8. Oh, okay, okay. My bad. 1d8 plus 2. Piercing damage. And that, of course, then adds up to an average of 6. Just got your Verglass to 5 former. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. I'm going to say, if you have an arena more than 320 feet in size, then good luck hitting anything at all. No players or DMs can hit barely anything at that range. I recommend that DMs actually make use of battle maps and arenas of a colossal size from time to time. I'm talking 500 to 1,000 feet in diameter. Reason being on that is to actually... Okay, I haven't even done Soundless Form yet. I need to go back to that. The reason being on that is because there are long-range options that should be utilised, and not every encounter should be melee starts 30 feet from their target. Sometimes you are supposed to identify your opponents at a distance and go, oh, what do we do? How do we close the distance? How do we work on this? Are there any spells or ranged weapons that can hit that? Yes, that's the point. There's barely any. Not none. Barely any. That's the whole point, Gorilla. Because if you have a ranger with a longbow who can ignore the disadvantage for long range, they're going to be having a field day with that. If you have a sorcerer who is using extended spell, they're going, yes, it finally applies. The whole point of varying encounters is to make it where sometimes you need to address different challenges, and one of those challenges is just sheer distance. How do you close the distance when the goblins are all just peppering you with light crossbows and backing up 30 feet each turn? You have to deal with that. Find cover, create cover. Solve a practical problem. That's the whole point. Alright, so, we got the damage stats there. Soundless Form, I never actually wrote that out. I left it in the Atlas one. So, Soundless Form, all actions Banshee takes, including attacking, including attacks, spell casting, and movement, are completely soundless. Perception checks relying on sounds to perceive, Banshee will automatically fail. Boom. Yes, Banshee is completely soundless. That is by design. Banshee is going to be weaker, both in defense and offense, but where is Banshee? You don't bloody well know. You just suddenly realise that there is a crossbow bolt sticking out of your mate's shoulder. Where the hell did that come from? Oh yeah, auto fail. And this is something that exists in the books. It's like with invisibility. Invisibility, you just can't see. Perception checks relying on sight, fails. Straight up. So that is not an unheard of design. Alright, in terms of damage output then, Banshee's getting 12 per turn from light crossbow, so 2 turns of that is going to be 24. Which with a budget of 15 to 20 per turn, that's 60 over 3 turns, 24 out of that is only taking off. It's still leaving us with around about 30 damage, I want to say. Which means then I can have Sonic Boom deal 15 damage, because it should hit 2 targets, there's your 30. That should be good. So, aiming for around about 15 damage. How can we get 15 damage with dice? We go for... Let me see... Well, 2d8 would be a 9. 3d8 would be 13. Okay, what about d10s? D10s might make it too much. 2 and 8. 2 and 8 is not even a classification for stuff. Come on, guys, you should know how your dice work. If you're going to make a suggestion, please know how your dice work. 2d8 is an average of 9. When you've got an even number of dice, what you do is you halve the number of dice you're rolling, add 1 to the die you're rolling, multiply together. So 2d8, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 plus 1 is 9. 1 times 9, 9 damage. The 4d8, well, first of all, you know that's just double, but doing the fuller math there. 4d8, halving 4 is 2. 8 plus 1 is 9. 2 times 9, 18. 18 average from 48. You're not a D&D player, so you know nothing? Well, fair enough. So I want to get to around about 15 damage. I can go up or down, but I don't want to go too much up or down. Your Banshee extra attack? Already done. Multi-attack. Come on! How do I... 15. So 2d10 is already 11. 3d10 would be 16. Am I pushing that? 3d10 is quite a bit. When you consider that, what was it? Thunderwave was only 2d8. But then there's separate spells. I think 48 sounds like a good compromise. 48's too much. 18, that's far too much. I didn't want to go all the way up to 18. I wanted to aim for around 15. 46 gives average of 14. Yeah, because of the amount of crowd control that exists in Sonic Boom as well, I'm going to go for 46. We'll go for 14. It's on the... just on the lower side of it, which is fine. I'll use Battleship Game Coordinates. Karakup, would you like to learn? Would you like to learn what this means, or did you want to just make a quick joke there? So we got Bullet Jump, Soundless Form, Sonic Boom. Alright, so dice notation then for you, my dude. Dice notation. Let's take this one here as a good example. Can I zoom in nicely on that? I can. Let's take this one here, 1d6 plus 2. What this means is that we are rolling, so the number before a d says this is the number of dice, so 1 die, and then after number it says what type of die we're rolling. So this is d6, so we're rolling 1 6-sided die, and then to the result we are adding on plus 2. Now with a 6-sided die, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The average result there is 3.5. D&D handles everything by rounding down, so that's an average of 3 plus 2. So the value we've got on the outside here is the quick and easy average of 5. How many dice are there? You can define any of them. D&D typically uses a D4, which is 4-sided, D6, D8, D10, D12, and D20. Those are the core dice of Dungeons & Dragons. However, you can define pretty much anything you like. Oh, and D100, which is 2 lots of D10s. One of them for the 1s place, one of them for the 10s place. But yeah, you can have a die of absolutely any value. It's just, at the same time, you need to have a reason to use it. So for example, a D3. If something called for a D3, it's asking for a 3-sided die. Either you get one of these weird triangular prism dice, which you roll lengthways, or you roll a D6 and divide the result by 2. So 1 and 2 is 1, 3 and 4 is 2, 5 and 6 is 3. Yeah, don't roll a physical D100. That's going to be a nightmare to roll. That's going to be a nightmare. Don't go for that. D2 is a coin flip? Exactly, yeah. A D2 is a coin flip. A D1 is DM says. You don't get a choice. It's what happened. D100 more like a sphere? It's pretty much getting there, yeah. D100 looks like a golf ball. Pretty on point, yeah. Alright, so we've got our damage stats. This DC we have calculated, it's now 13. So just to recap on the bits and pieces here, we've got Banshee's stats, hit points, that needs to be figured. Con mod of 0, so this is going to be 0. Hit points, I'm aiming for 60. D8, do this every single time, but the D8 is an average of 4.5. 65 by 4.5 is 13.3. So if I go for 13 lots of 4.5, that comes out to 58.5, so we'll go 58. Boom, that works. That is the amount of hit points that this Banshee has. Job done. The value on the dice face is the number you put in the damage or ability. Yeah, Karakop, yeah. So this one here, it's saying for the DM, if they want to just speed things up, they can just say, oh, it hit you, it dealt 5 damage. Or, normally, the DM will get out a 6-sided die, roll that, go, oh, look at that, it rolled a 4. 4 plus 2 is 6, you take 6 piercing damage. Isn't a coin technically 3-sided? Yes and no. It's 2-sided for the case of rolling it. It's 3-sided for the case of defining shapes. It's just like how, as I said, the D3, a triangular prism, you would have a triangle shape stretched out into a 3D shape. 1 on one side, 2, and then 3. But the actual ends, you'd say, oh, that's a 4th and 5th side. But they are rollable sides. So a coin is a D2, it's a 2-sided roll, but it does have 3 sides. Just like how a cube has 7 sides. You got the top, the bottom, the left, the right, the front, the back, and the inside. Oh dear, that was terrible. I'm sorry, that was just terrible. Anyway. Let's just review the Banshee here to make sure this is all correct. So, we got the initial bits here, that's all fine. Armor class 13, that's fine. It is natural armor still because the dex mod wouldn't be sufficient. Hit points are correct, speed is correct. Skills, yep, they've been put in. Passive perception, all that lot is correct. Bullet jump, I have updated that and it says Banshee. The vertical is correct, the horizontal is correct. Soundless form, we just wrote that in. I'm just checking as well to make sure I've not made any generalizations that shouldn't happen. Sonic Boom, spell 1 action. We say the range on it. We've got the casting time, we've got the nature of it, we've got the saving throw, we've got the consequences, and we have got the successful save consequences. Spell casting, Banshee, you can cast this spell, Sonic Boom. I'm sticking with 2nd level. I know it's strong for a 2nd level spell, but I'm sticking with it. We got the actions, multi-attack, short sword, or light crossbow. Light crossbows normally have the loading property, monsters don't care about that, so it's fine. Will Soundless Form apply to weaponry? Yes. Soundless Form, as you can read here, Remover, just applies. All actions Banshee takes, including attacks, spellcasting and movement, are completely soundless. Completely. Yeah, that's a fun one. That is absolutely a fun one. And that is a completed Banshee, I believe. Which means we can get on to making the Banshee Adept. And I think what I have to do, because of the way my editor handles pages, if I check where was the first one I need to do this with, on the Ash page, Ash Initia page, let's see, I have to break it up with this. Visually, it'll seem to do almost nothing to the page, but I have to do it, because otherwise it breaks the PDF that I produce. If you watch very carefully, you might see what happens. Did you see that? Did you see the change it made to the document? Yeah. Can I find the rulebook online to disable one? Actually, yes you can. Yes you can. D&D 5e basic rules. How did what? Okay, I didn't put shift for incorrectly. Click. Oh, I just want. Oh, I mean, you can work your way through it bit by bit, but there's got to be just a simple download somewhere. Cop, I'm just going to link this for you. I'm just going to link that for you, but yeah, there's probably a PDF out there. Well, there should be a PDF because they've released one. It's official. It's not some kind of, oh, this is piracy thing. No, official basic rules. That's what you're looking for. Shift about 1 millimeter downwards. It actually went down by just a pixel. And that pixel is this black line right here at the top of this bar, which for some reason, if I don't do that single pixel down, when it's rendered, the black line actually appears here. Which is really annoying, because it just looks wrong. So yeah, that's why I have to include that. Tiny formatting things you learn. You still want me to pay for the PDF? No, not for the basic rules, Nightmare Leviathan. It was never the basic rules that were charged. The basic rules were always available for free, is my understanding. It is the player's handbook that you pay for. That's the more thorough thing. Basic rules was always free, like the initial adventure as well. It just doesn't give you as many class options, doesn't give you as many race options, and so on. Shouldn't it avoid that formatting if you use /column to force it over? It would if /column did anything on this version. I'm using a slightly older version of the home brewery because the newer version, I'll be honest, just doesn't look as nice to me. The font just feels a bit off. So as much as I know that these tables have slightly too plain a background compared to the actual official documents they're produced, the font feels nicer to read for me. So yeah, I don't have the /column option, unfortunately. There's a few features I don't have when you're doing it this way, but converting it over would be a nightmare, and I prefer the look of it. I just prefer it. Alright, Banshee Adept. Let's get cracking on with you. Now, Banshee Adept, I'm going to aim for a challenge rating of 9, which means that defensively, I'm actually going to aim for 8, which is 15 AC, 120 hit points. That is where I want to aim roughly there. 15 AC, 120 hit points. Still going to keep the speed where it is. They're support, they're not speedy, they're not flanker. And rules while designing the 5th frame will be weird. Actually, this is the 6th frame. This might be stream 5, but this is the 6th frame because we've got Excalibur, Mag I did off stream, Vault, Ash, and Atlas already. Yeah, Banshee is number 6. Alright, challenge 9, which is how much XP? I should just save this information. I always forget. Nope. No, XP per challenge rating. There we go. 5,000. Guys is saying, because this project started an account on Homebrewing, started taking up my Homebrew World items. Fair do. I've got fun with that. Removes saying, I'm curious how Soundness Form will interact with Blind Sense and Tremor Sense. So, I leave that up to the DM. If the DM decides in their world that Blind Sense works off sound, then it doesn't work. If they say that it works off something else, then it works off something else. Likewise with Tremor Sense, vibrations on the earth is what you'd expect it to be, but if they take it a different route, they take it a different route. I leave that up to the DM. I don't want to be putting in every last possible detail of clarification. 5e doesn't work that way, frankly. If you want to see how badly 5e doesn't work that way, look at the stealth rules. It doesn't. I need to add a total of +8 across the board, of which 2 always goes into Charisma. So let's get that up onto here now. Charisma brought that up to 8 for -1 on Charisma, which means I need to add in a +6 total across the rest of everything else. Yeah, by 1 in Strength, 1 in Dex, 1 in Con to start, 1 in Intelligence, and I'll go for 2 in Wisdom. I think that's the place where I can put the 2. We just update all these across the way backwards. There we go. Skill is going to increase. So the skills now, we've got perception, we've got stealth. Let's add on... Let's add on sleight of hand. That feels like a Banshee thing. And that is going to now be a plus... Ooh. Proficiency has gone up to +4, hasn't it? Yeah. CR9 is proficiency 4, so... Yeah, it is that. So that's a +7. The perception should be a +7. And the stealth should be a +7. That's nice and easy. That's very easy. Exactly, really, yeah. If I try and constrain every possibility just for the sake of clarity, it removes the ability for D&D to be as freeform as it should be. This is not a computer game at the end of the day. Vertical is 8 foot, horizontal is 24 feet. Soundless form doesn't need to change, that just exists. Sonic boom can continue to exist as is. I probably don't even need to change the damage on that one. We'll see. Actually, no, I probably will need to change the damage on it, but we'll see how it all comes together. The DC on this is going to change. Intelligence is 4, proficiency brings that to 8, makes this a DC of 16, and the attack bonus of 8. That's just how the numbers work out. So this is 16. And let's update the weapons down here as well whilst I'm at it. So the +4 to hit is now a +7 to hit. For a total of d6 +3, 6 damage. And likewise this one, still also +7 to hit. It's 1d8 +3 damage, which brings this up to 7. So yeah, that's our starting point on those. That's all sorted there. We need to add in the sonar ability. Sonar! So this is a spell. Do I make this one action or one bonus action? I think to allow Banshee to actually achieve more generally, I'm going to make this a bonus action so that Banshee can still attack with their actions as well separately. So one bonus action, because otherwise Banshee's just not doing enough to be threatening for challenge rating 9. Banshee... Yeah, Banshee emits? No. Banshee... Yeah, Banshee emits. Banshee emits a magical sound wave inaudible to enemies. Because inaudibility is Banshee's thing. Magical pulse. I like that. I like that. Banshee emits a magical pulse inaudible to enemies. Thank you, Gorilla. All creatures hostile to Banshee. Ooh, space. Within... We'll just go 60 feet for now. Become marked by... Yeah, all creatures hostile to Banshee within 60 feet become marked. Yeah, just become marked by the spell. Do I make it automatic? No, I don't make it automatic, but how can they resist it? Or do I make it automatic? No, I don't want to make this automatic, but they shouldn't be able to just dodge it. What kind of save would this be then? So yeah, this would be a detection thing to be able to track enemies. They won't be able to hide because Banshee will just know their location. Banshee and its allies will benefit from this. There's more like echolocation? Yeah. But it's a detection that holds on. It doesn't just happen in an instant. It's not just a perception check with enhanced senses. It's a spell which holds on because it also amplifies damage, which I'm going to do as an amplified crit range. But it's actually applying that. Do they get a save? And if so, what save would it be? That's the bit where I'm stuck thinking right now. And Flight range is disgusting. That's the entire point. Banshee is the support. Their DPS, poor. Their tank, poor. Their AC, poor. Everything about them, poor. But if they are with allies, you're suddenly torn between dealing with the allies who are actually pumping out the damage, or dealing with the cast which is amplifying them. Amped crit range, Rainuva. Amped crit range. Wisdom save would be the closest. Maybe intelligence is backup. That's the thing. 5e. This is one of the areas 5e fails. It doesn't really define the saving throws. It defines the skills, and I'll be honest, it gets kind of awkward around that in that it sticks with the ancient 6 stats that have been around since the origin of Dungeons and Dragons. Strength, yeah, strength is strength. Dexterity, well, that's how lithe you are. Never mind how strength can play into that. That's separate things, right? It's your ability to dodge, but it's also your reflexes and your initiative. But don't worry about that. Constitution, that is how hardy you are. That's how much you can take. Except for physical forces, that's strength again. Sometimes. But not always. But mostly. But sort of. And then you get onto intelligence, which is the ability to analyze and recall and understand things. And then you got wisdom, which is the perception of things. But then intelligence is how you defeat illusions, which are fooling your senses. And wisdom is how you prevent a spell from charming you that would make it where you can no longer understand friend from foe, where you'd be failing to analyze the situation. And then charisma is the force of your personality, but charisma saves are more akin to stopping yourself from being yeeted to another plane of existence. And I go, hang on. What's going on here? There's a serious weakness for D&D 5e, in my opinion, is that it doesn't really take the time to properly explain the saves. And it's created strong and weak saves, similar to how there used to be 3 saves in 4th edition, but there's now 6, and they still wanted to make just 3 of them matter. It's not ideal. It's not ideal, if you ask me. I suppose, in that sense, I can basically bring it down to, do I want this to be a save that players tend to consider a strong save or a weak save? I'll go for wisdom. That's going to be the characters which are more perceptive, are more able to dodge the spell, or just not have the spell affect them. So those who are more perceptive will notice the enemies go for their weak spots. Jason, marking isn't a thing in 5e, which is why I can use mark safely as a word here, because there is no mark in D&D 5e. There is in 4th edition, but not in 5th edition, to my knowledge. There's Hunter's Mark, but that's not a mark. Could be something like Hex. I suppose you could just choose. We're saying I think I have to double down on Wisdom then because the ability to detect the ability activating. But that's the thing, is that it's a silent spell in the first place. If you're behind a wall, you would have absolutely no awareness that it even happened. Which is, again, another question about saving throws, is if you have to make a saving throw and you pass, do you know that anything even happened? Like, if someone tried to charm you, but they use subtle spells, so they just looked at you and then a spell failed because you passed your save, would you know that they tried to charm you? And the answer is... exactly. Yeah. Arcane Perception? It's not really a thing. In 4th edition, you can use Arcana skill, or yeah, I think it's called Arcana in 4th edition as well, to detect magic. But in 5th edition, no, detect magic is a spell. Arcane knowledge does not just give you a sense, which I always found kind of odd as well, but there you are, it's a thing. Why give reasons to use your intelligence stat, eh? Players have detect magic up. If players just have detect magic up, that's expensive. That's burning through slots. You know, yeah, I'm just going to go no save. Sod it. Banshee is supposed to be dangerous. If there's a save that can block it, then Banshee just loses all utility. So, no. I'm going to go no save. It happens. It's just a thing. Deal with it, kind of deal. All creatures hostile to Banshee within 60 feet become marked by the spell. This effect penetrates physical barriers, such as the walls of a building or natural stone. Marked for death, just marked at the moment. So this effect penetrates physical barriers such as the walls of a building or natural stone. Reason for stating that is to make it clear line of effect isn't necessary for this spell. Because sometimes, well, most spells do have to have line of effect. So I'm clearing up this one does not require that. On top of the lack of save. A marked enemy... a marked creature's location is known to Banshee and its allies within 60 feet for the duration of the spell, which I haven't given a duration yet, so let's fix that. Duration 1 minute. Encounter long. While marked, attacks against a creature have increased critical range by... You know what? I'm going to be mean. 2. E.g. if the attacker would crit on a 20, they instead crit on 18 to 20. No, actually no, that's too much. At high levels I'll make it 2. It should be 1 for now. Because of the lack of save, it should be 1 for now. Otherwise, that would be too much. 19 to 20 would be correct. 18 I'll save for Prime. Because you've got to remember that there are other kinds of things the DM can use which will increase that further as well elsewhere. Scimitar crit range, again, not 5th edition, right either. Yeah, an increased crit range isn't a huge amount of DPR change. You're very right, Grumpy Pants. What it is, however, is an increase in swing, because a crit does a lot of damage, generally speaking. Hey, CB Draw, say, hey, Mr. Kengineer, hope things have been good. Have my first week of training with forklifts such next week, so I'll be a busy man. Well, all the best on that. You fork that lift very well. All the best. Brother only said, I treat failed charm attempts like a character just suddenly had intrusive thoughts but resisted them. That's an option. It's never codified in the game, which for something that is codified all the way up to the point of failing or passing the saving throw, it's strange that there is no codification of detecting it generally. Which is, again, just a general failing of 5th edition. It's detection and stealth rules are lacking. It's mostly let the DM decide. And it's like, no, sorry, I pay for this duck. Can you... Duck? Buck, even. I pay for this buck. Can you decide? Mr. Game Makers. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. We're going to open the game, Warframe game in a few weeks. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Alright, so let's recheck this. Banshee emits a magical pulse inaudible to enemies. All creatures hostile to Banshee within 60 feet become marked by the spell. This effect penetrates physical barriers, such as the walls of a building or natural stone. A marked creature's location is known to Banshee and its allies within 60 feet. No, and its allies, if they are within 60 feet of the target, I'm going to put that into commas, just to separate the clause, for the duration of the spell. So, re-saying that, a marked creature's location is known to Banshee and its allies, if they're within 60 feet of the target, for the duration of the spell. Is there a limit to how many times a day she can do this, or time range? Yeah. I haven't had it in yet, but the same with literally every other spell I put on here so far, really, yeah. Just like Sonic Boom is wins per short rest. I just haven't had it in yet. One marked attacks against a creature have increased critical range by 1. E.g., if the attacker would crit on a 20, they instead crit on 19 to 20. I think that covers that. So, we've got then adding this to the list, which is Sonar. We're going to call this is pretty nasty, so I'm going to call it 4th level for now. And it's still 1 per short rest, so it's 1 opportunity for that. In terms of the damage calculation so far, I've not changed anything on that side. So, Sonic Boom, 14 to 2 targets is how we calculate it, so that's 28. And then the multi-attack on this, that's going to be 14 per turn, plus another 14 per turn on the next turn. So 14, 28, 56 total damage is where we're at the moment. Now I want to aim for around about triple what we're seeing here. Challenge 9, just going down a little bit. It's currently at, what did I say, 56, and I need that to be around about 120. Yeah, I'm not hitting that. So, what I can do is I can improve the damage of Sonic Boom and give Banshee more uses of it. Let's bring Sonic Boom up to 4th level. Let's make this 8d6, which doubles that to 28. So that's straight away. Casting that at 4th level. Do I go some more 4th level or 5th at this point? No, it's still 4th. Still 4th. Jason is saying, nitpick, magical pulse in all enemies implies allies can hear it, but passive says everything she does is soundless. Good point. I should make that soundless to... Yeah. And an inaudible magical pulse. There we go. Thanks for the nitpick, Jason. That works. Alright, let's see how this works out. So we've got 28, 56 on single cast. 56 followed by 2 lots of 14, 56, 70, 84. Still on the low side. If I gave them 2 casts of that, 28, 56, 112 plus 14 for 126 would be over my target. But I could bring this down a bit as well. I definitely don't want to go over my target. I'm fine with being a bit under my target, then not hugely, but I definitely don't want to be over my target. Because Banshee, again, is not supposed to be a damage dealer. With the riders in play as well. I'm going to tone that down. Or do I give them more multi-attacks? That's what I could do. That could balance it out. If I go for 3 attacks... Also, did I not pluralize that? 3 attack? How did no one catch that nitpick? There we go. If I do that instead, let's see. 2856 on Sonic Boom, because we always count 2 enemies when doing the mathematics on this. So 56 there, and then 21 per turn on the other 2 turns. 21, 42, 98? 98 over 3 turns is still challenge 5 to 6. It's about 5.5. Which for challenge 9 creature, that's still really bad. But we do have the sonar boost. Then we have got a bit of crowd control going on with Sonic Boom. And we got Soundless Form. Kinda? You know what? I don't want to push Sonic Boom any further. I don't want to give another cast of it. So I'm going to accept it being lower damage. It's low. It is low. But I'm going to accept it being lower damage. Because at least this maintains, like 21 damage per turn. It's also still very low. But I think it is a reasonable maintain. That's the thing, Jason. As much as this is more of a caster than fighter, The problem is I don't want to have more casts of Sonic Boom, because then either Sonic Boom has to be weaker, and so those multiple casts are just not as impressive, or Banshee ends up doing loads of damage. Yeah, there's no components to any of these spells. They do not use up spell slots, because there are no spell slots. They have a limited number of uses per rest instead. They're a prepared caster in that sense, and they don't have verbal, somatic, or material components, with the exception of Excalibur, who requires a longsword. Jackson's suggesting I could do 66, which averages 21 per cast. Just over the 40 damage threshold. That's not the threshold. That's not how that works, Jason. This isn't saying... in fact, I'm not even sure what you were saying in terms of a threshold there. Yeah, 21, 42, 84, then plus 14, be 95. Still be too low. Yeah, I'm not sure you understand what this is supposed to be. This is a very rough and dry way of putting together a monster. It's very basic, but yeah. So I'm not aiming for X damage per round. I'm aiming for X damage per round average across 3 rounds. That allows you to have a big hit and smaller hits. In calculating that, I always regard that AoE attacks hit 2 enemies. That's kind of how D&D just generally balances things. It assumes that an AoE attack will hit 2 enemies. And that single target attacks obviously are just single target attacks. And we add it up together by predicting Banshee's first 3 turns. What will they do, assuming everything hits? Sonic Boom, assuming it hits 2 creatures, will deal 56 at this point. 56, yeah, that's well over the 40 here, but then the follow-up attacks, follow-up turns, are much lower at 21 each. You'll notice the same kind of balancing is used throughout the Monster Manual in less than ideal ways, but it is used throughout. It means then that enemies will have big attacks followed by smaller attacks. The big attacks might recharge, but they're on a recharge D6. They're likely not to come around again for a while, or they're just straight up, nope, the caster's used it, it's gone. That kind of thing. And then others, they just have, I threw big rock every turn, and so it's just a flat amount each time. The way that this suggests putting together damage based on limited use and all that lot, in further research, doesn't actually work the way they stated on here, because this has an underlying invisible assumption, which works in the example they gave, but doesn't work otherwise. That underlying assumption is that you only get 1 limited use attack. So if anyone's looking at the information here and wondering why I don't use that, it's because that doesn't actually work for something as complicated as a Warframe, where it's got multiple limited use things. Yeah, Jason, yeah. So the challenge rating 9, but aiming a little bit low. I'll be looking at 40, so total of 120 damage-ish for the 3 rounds, you're very right. Which is why, as I was seeing first, it wasn't coming even close to that. It's feeling a bit awkward. So now here, let's say again, I'm just going to type it here for reference sake. We got 28 twice. And Sonic Boom hitting 2 creatures. We've got then Light Crossbow, because we always assume the highest hitting will attack 3 times over is 21, followed by 21 on the final turn of 3 turns. Add those all together, well, 28 and 21 is 49. So that comes to 98 damage. It's still low. It's not on that 120. It's quite a bit down. It's not even on the 105, but this one. So it is low damage output, but Banshee has control. Banshee has a no-save sonar spell. I think that works out. Right. So in which case then, everything should be in place. Yeah. That sonar just hits, no getting around it. If you don't want to be hit by it, don't get within 60 feet of Banshee in the first place. That's the information you get there. If you do get within 60 feet, don't get crit. Give the attackers disadvantage. Luckily, save spells can't crit. Yeah, Save spells can't crit, that is also a useful design. However, because it is a bonus action, Banshee casts Sonar, and then immediately follows it up with 3 light crossbow attacks, and those can crit. So Banshee does have a little bit of self-synergy there. But it's only +1 to the crit range. If they were going to hit... if they're rolling a 19, they were going to hit already. Let's be honest now, they were already going to hit. So it just means that 5% of the time, they'll deal an extra 1d8 damage. 5%. Over the 3 attacks, it's effectively 15%, 1d8 more damage, which comes out to less than 1 extra average damage. Less than 1, if my math is correct there, and it probably is. So it's really not that big of a deal. But it's a force multiplier. You then get, say, Excalibur coming in and using that. Excalibur is going, ho ho ho, yeah. Yeah, Banshee and Ash together, Banshee and Excalibur together. Those kinds of ones are just, can we not have this? This is going to kind of hurt. Yeah, let's not do that, please. And your DM just says, no, it's happening, deal with it. Roll for initiative. Right, I'm happy with that. That is a finished Banshee right there. TPK inbound? Well, if it's a TPK, it means that the party didn't prepare ahead for the fact they were fighting multiple Warframes at once, and therefore voluntarily opted to die. When you go into an encounter, your life is forfeit. Your actions you take thereafter determine if you earn your life back. That's an encounter with a Warframe. If you don't want your lights to go out, do your research. And if someone's wondering how you do your research, I put that on the very first page. Preparation begets success. No sympathy for a party that walks into a fight with no information. Alright, Banshee Master. Banshee Master. Let's look at making this one. I'm going to go for challenge rating 14 on this one now, which will bring up the proficiency to 5. Yep. For challenge rating 14 as our aim. Taking again the stats slightly lower. I'm going 16 AC and about 195 hit points. Wait, did I actually do the hit points? Oh, I didn't. Shit. Let's fix that. My bad. This is going to be +1 from con. Excuse me. It's trying to come up again. 120 divided by 5.5 is 21.8. So if we go for 22. 22 d8 plus 22, which comes out to 121. There we are. Now it's fine. Where's weather space? I can't remember. I'm going to give it a space. Sorry, where was I? Yes. So, challenge 14, bring it down, 16 AC, and 195 hit points aim. It's not a lot down, but it's still down. Did I address how Sonic Form interacts with Sonic Boom? Is it a silent Sonic Boom, or does it still make noise? It's completely silent. I did address it. It says it here. All actions, including spellcasting. I don't know how that could be any more clear. If you read Seller's Form, you see all actions, including spellcasting, and go, yeah, but does it include the spell? Honestly, I don't know what to tell you. I genuinely don't know what to tell you at that point. If you're looking at that and you're still lost, it says all. People clutch their heads in pain out of nowhere and just go flying. Yeah, exactly. Have you seen the Banshee trailer, the Banshee Prime trailer? Come on, let's come on now. Have you seen this before?
These like-faced savages, these earth-worn mules, a vast, violent ocean at our command.
Might be a bit loud.
Wither.
You watch how this goes down for the
steel and flesh, casting these hordes from gene molds
yes, it's
and
voice.
flock minds. We inspire nothing. Our demons of Void Womb must be different.
Yo, Korokop, thank you very much for the gifted sub, mate. Appreciate it.
Crafted without caste.
When I
Rules
say
of the
completely
finest of all.
silent, this is what I mean.
Slender and queer.
He added a gunshot there. And then the one thing that isn't silent is when Banshee activates her fourth ability. That's where it really just messes with the enemies. This is what we're creating. A DM should be able to look at this, having never played Warframe. Okay, I don't know why it black screened. Oh, because they did it. A DM should be able to watch that, having never played Warframe, tie that into what Banshee's stats are and go, yep, I know exactly what's going to happen here. And holy shit, are the enemy's not ready for it. Sorry, the player's not ready for it. That's what we're building on. You can hear your abilities in game because if Banshee was literally silent, it would be boring as sin. You'd wonder if your game was broken. They would have reports every single day from people saying, like, my audio's not working. But in D&D, Banshee's terrifying. Yeah, Jason, make sure you give a thanks there to Korokop for that gifted sub. Korokop, really do appreciate that, my dude. Really do. I'm also kind of surprised, actually. You're the first person to have gifted this month. And we're on the 18th. Well, I suppose we are on the ropes Christmas. Finances be what they are, that's fine. I don't require it of anyone. Alright, Banshee Masters. We got the hit point aim we're going for there. I need to increase the stats across the board by +5 total. Don't touch the charisma, so I can just do the rest of them. Oops. It just works to increase these 1 point at a time. It seemed to make sense to me. There we go. Alrighty, skill at this point. Skill at this point, let's see. Don't want to get too gamey on the skills for Banshee, but then they are meant to be support. Yeah, because they're lacking the damage and defenses, I'm going to give them acrobatics. I'm going to keep on giving them the more gamey skills. They've earned at least that much. All of these stats are going to be +9s because they're relevant base stats are +4s, so that's pretty easy. Challenge 14, the XP for that is 11,500. I'm hoping that is the correct table. I think that is correct. Google wouldn't send me astray, would it? Vertical is 10 feet, horizontal is 28 feet. Soundless form doesn't change. Sonic Boom we can have a look at later. Might increase the range on it. Sonar. I'm going to leave Sonar where it is for now. Just as a matter of course. I'm just going to leave that where it is. I might increase the range on it. We'll figure that out. What needs to be added in is, of course, silence. Spell. Ooh. Do I make this an action or bonus action? Does Sonic Boom strip armor? No, Raynover, no. So I've gone for the unaugmented Banshee so far on this one. So Sonic Boom does not strip armor, Sonar doesn't have any ricocheting, recasting effect, and Silence, I'm not going to go for a Savage Silence approach, no. Will the Silence ability just be the Silence spell but change to an AoE and maybe amp the range? I'm going to make it worse than that, Gorilla. I'm going to make it worse than that, because this is Banshee's thing. You think of the Silence spell. If I just go Silence, it's a 2nd level spell. 2nd level. Which is nowhere near what level we're at now. This is supposed to be Banshee's 3rd ability coming online, and this is just a 2nd level. Nah. Silence in Warframe stuns. Silence in Warframe does more than stun. Silence in Warframe does more than stun. Silence in Warframe, I just said that 3 times in a row, but let's go for it. Acts like silence in other video games. It disables abilities. It means that Arson Xmas will not cast out their Fire Wave. Arctic Xmas do not get their Snow Globe. It means that grapples will not be used by scorpions and ancients. I think it even stops the Hellions from jetpacking upwards, though I'm not sure on that one. Silence disables abilities. Even acolytes are affected by this, and an acolyte uses silence on us as well. Now, how do you disable abilities in D&D? Supernatural abilities are disabled. We can go just simpler than that. Anti-magic field. Silence is a Banshee-focused anti-magic field which doesn't have friendly fire. That's how this is so evil. An anti-magic field with no friendly fire. It's not going to have a huge range, but it means that your spells simply won't connect. It means that the fighter's lovely magic sword is now just a sword. This is Banshee's protection. This is Banshee's amazing devastation. Banshee doesn't need damage because Banshee just knocks you all the way back down to level 3. Banshee is not playing fair because Banshee is a sport. And for that, I actually, yeah, one action, 1 minute, and this is gonna, ooh, do I make a concentration? Yes. I definitely make this one concentration. Banshee enhances its soundless nature to drown out the noises of its allies and quash the magic of its enemies. Have to be able to turn it off somehow? Yeah, concentration. Banshee is not very strong, and certainly not high AC, so easy to hit. And this is where a more tank kind of frame would otherwise get in the way to protect that, or Banshee would use things to stop the players from actually being able to hit Banshee. But if nothing hits Banshee, Banshee just drops the battlefield. Not physically, magically. And she sounds like the birth child of Ash and a false Hydra. I mean, this is a challenge rating 14 Warframe, you know? This is supposed to be a little bit horrifying. This is supposed to be the point where you go, oh good god, they just activated their 3rd level ability. Or 3rd tier ability. This is something that tier 2 and 1 PCs should just look at and go, nope, 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 I'm out, I'm not dealing with that. We're good. You take over the world, Banshee, it's fine. This is a Banshee Master. They're supposed to be horrifying. Can't imagine what I'm going to do for Soundquake. We'll get there. We'll get there. False Hydra is a horrifying if done right. This is worse. This is not worse, right now. But this is not worse than a False Hydra. Because you could still easily just look at Banshee. And you go, oh look, there's a Banshee. Oh look, there's a Banshee with an arrow through their head. What are they going to do? That's fine. Oh, look at that. Banshee is trying to cast Silence. Counterspell. Sorry, Banshee, what was that? I can't hear you. Oh, for the fact that I countered your counter. You can't counterspell a false Hydra. Banshee's not that devastating. And for those of you who don't know what a false Hydra is, enjoy the Google search. It is a horrible creature. Anyway, Banshee enhances its soundless nature to drown out the noises of its allies and quash the magic of its enemies. Allies within 60 feet of... So 60, yeah, 60 feet. You know what, let's go full 60 feet. It's still counterspell range, though. Allies within 60 feet of Banshee gain the Soundless Form trait. No, while an ally is within 60 feet. While an ally is within 60 feet of Banshee. Oops, double of. It gains the Soundless Form trait. So they become silent as well, which is great. The Banshee, what are my best chance of survival? Tactics, run. Nah, you'll be fine. Just shoot them. Yeah, so this is, that's why I'm defining it as an aura around Banshee. So while an ally is within 60 feet of Banshee, it gains the Soundless Form trait. Anything... Oh. I should just define this as an aura. Watch magic of enemies. While active, this spell creates an aura centered on Banshee. Allies within the aura have the Soundless Form trait and are otherwise immune. No, just Soundless Form trait. The aura also acts as an anti-magic field affecting only the spells and equipment spells and equipment. No, that's not. I'm phrasing. Only affects these spells, magical abilities, yeah, and magical equipment of creatures hostile to Banshee. Yeah, that should work as phrasing, right? The aura also acts as an anti-magic field, affecting only the spells, magic abilities, and magical equipment of creatures hostile to Banshee. Disabling Banshee. Hostile creatures, creatures hostile to Banshee cannot affect anything in the area with a spell. And existing spell effects I feel like I'm overwording this, but I'm gonna research this further. 5e anti-magic field. Does it have? Let me see how they phrase it, and I'll take it from there. Actually, I didn't realize this was 8th level. Jesus. Okay. Well, that one's level 1 hour, but it's also a very small area. 10-foot radius, a visible sphere of anti-magic surrounds you. The area is enforced from magical energy. This fuses multiverse. Within the sphere, spells can't be cast and the creatures disappear. Even magical items become mundane. Dark Ellen's sphere may be with you. Spells and other magical effects, except those created by an artifact deity, are suppressed in the sphere and can't protrude into it. You know what? I should just use this wording, shouldn't I? I should just straight up take the wording of this one. Basically, but this is so long and wordy. I don't need all of the trimmings on this, I don't think. You think his stream broke, you accidentally hit pause? Oof. Oof. Yeah, so within the sphere, spells can't be cast, summoned creatures disappear, and magic items become mundane. So I can rephrase that as within the sphere, spells can't be cast by enemies, creatures summoned by enemies disappear, and magic items worn or held by enemies become mundane. We're just, I want to condense down the phrasing here. It really goes on and on. Also, there is this note about except those created by an artifact or deity, and actually, you know what? I kind of want to respect that. If the players get hold of an artifact or call upon magic from a deity, that should burst through it. Absolutely. Warframes are not stronger than gods. They absolutely are not stronger than gods. Man in the wall. So, you know. Yeah.
Become paid. Also 6 months, baby.
Yo, Addy, thank you very, very much for resubscribing onto 6 months, as you say there. You got yourself that lovely golden mug. Thank you very much. Oh. Cheers there, Addy. And also EDM. Yep, let's bring in some EDM for you. It's that time of the evening. We're switching over to the EDM at your request. There we are. It is indeed a day ending in a Y. Yep. Alright, so let me rethink this then. Banshee enhances its soundless nature to drown out the noises of its allies and quash the magic of its enemies. While active, the spell creates an aura centered on Banshee. I'll figure out the range that I want to go for in a moment. Allies within the aura have the soundless form trait. That's fine, it's just a single bit, so it lives. The aura also acts as an anti-magic field, affecting only the spells, magical abilities, and magical equipment of creatures hostile to Banshee. All such magical effects are suppressed. Unless produced by an artifact or deity. Is it artifact or artifact? Artifact in this game, my bad. Artifact, there we are. Spelling is hard, guys. Could honestly just leave the anti-magic field fell there. So part of this is I don't want to just link a specific spell. The whole point of having all the spells listed in a Warframes thing, rather than having a spell compendium at the end, is that I want the DM to look at the stat block and they know exactly what they're doing. So long as they understand the terminology, they don't need to go anywhere else, they don't need to be flipping through pages, they just have the information in front of them. It's like how when I went into the book earlier, I was looking up for thunder damage. I went to the index, it had a section that said thunder damage, and it said see damage types. Rather than just put 3 numbers of the page bloody number, it said go to this other index reference damage types, and in damage types, it just had the page number. It takes more ink to tell me to go elsewhere. So I'm not doing that here either, as much as it would take less ink. 1, we're not using ink, we're using a PDF. 2, I'm not a dick. I'm not. So yeah. The aura acts as an anti-magic field, affecting only spells. Music. Okay. Sometimes it does that, I don't know why. Why does it do that? Sorry, that annoys me. Every time that happens, I don't know why that happens. I'm just going to have a quick peek if I can see what happened there. And it looks like it just had a hang. Computers. Whatever. It happens. Anyway. So the aura also acts as an anti-magic field, affecting only the spells, magical abilities, and magical equipment of creatures hostile to Banshee. All such magical effects are suppressed in the aura. Including area spells which overlap with the aura. So that covers things like fireballing the edge of it, unless produced by an artifact or deity. The magical effects of equipment returns to normal immediately on leaving the aura. Just to make that clear as well, it's only suppressed, it's not removed. Just suppressed. And I just need to give a range. So spell creator, eyes within the aura. Sorry. Yeah. While active, the spell creates an aura with the radius of. I know the anti-magic zone is only 10 feet, but I want this to be dangerous. Do I want to go... do I go 30 or 60 feet? Do I go 40 feet? I think I just go 30. Yeah, I think I'd just go 30. Because I can buff that up to 60 on the prime, quite frankly. At 30, it's still terrifying, frankly. It is still terrifying. Because basically no spell can target Banshee or any of Banshee's allies, but it is concentration, and this isn't concentration, is it? No, this isn't concentration. This lasts an hour. Affects all magic, for that matter. Oh, Zom wants the music off. Sorry, Addy, you had it for 5 minutes. And now it's gone. It is anti-magic field is concentration? Oh. My bad, yeah, it's there. It's a little dumb to see. I expected to see concentration, my bad. You're very right, it is right there. Okay, yeah. 30 feet, I'll make it 60 on the prime. Is this where we're about to have a Yo DJ fight between Zom and Addy? You thought more had passed? Did you? Oh, you really felt that was more than 5 minutes right there and then. Oh dear. Hitting it on the moment it becomes available to press. Well, we got no music now. That's a thing. Alright, so... time to look at the rest of the figures here. In terms of the damage stats, for a challenge rating 14, but slightly lowered, we're looking at 65 per turn average, which is 195. This is obviously not going to be 195, but it needs to be higher than where it's at. So, let's improve all this. Let's improve all of this. I'm going to improve the damage on this to 12d6, which brings us up to 42. I'm going to improve the range on it from 20-foot cone to 30-foot cone. I'm just going to go ham on the range here. Sonar now affects 90 feet. These spells are cast at a well higher level now, so 6th level. Sonar, I'm just improving the range a bit, so 5th level. Yeah, Sonic Boom with the extra damage, it's getting a double level boost, but Sonar only a single level boost. So it's easier to counterspell the Sonar there. And we have the Silence spell, which is definitely an 8th level. Because it's basically anti-magic field, but different. That is definitely an 8th level spell. And in terms of the damage output then, this here is now 84 on its own. And we're getting 3 attacks of this. I haven't updated the stats on these as yet, so let's do all of that. DC 16 on int 5, 5, 10, 18. And plus 10. God, this feels so weird, Zom, without the music. What have you done to me? What have you done to me, Zom? Sonic Boom, which is the only thing that actually uses the DC at the moment. There we are, 18. Really would say, I've just realised these are designed for party hunting the Warframe. Banshee Master or Prime is by far the most terrifying of Warframes website on the party. Oh yeah. It can absolutely swing the other way, because if the party are in a position, they get a Warframe's attention, and by design that is a thing. Exotic Arsenal, they collect the stuff that parties tend to collect. If the parties get themselves the attention of a Warframe or even group of Warframes that want their stuff, the party are going to learn very, very quickly what it's like to be on the receiving end. You can pull off similar to this already in D&D with things like a Revenant. A Revenant is a horrible creature if you play it correctly. Horrible. So yeah, if you want to be a cruel DM, if you want to be a DM that makes the party feel like they are now on the run, they are under constant assault, you throw the Warframes at them. And because Warframes, by their design, keep coming back, you can even go for an underleveled one that hits, and hits again, and then hits this time with some pets and companions, and then hits with another Warframe in tow, and then it's 3 Warframes together, and then it's 4 Warframes together, until the party find where the Warframe is coming from and destroy the source. If you want to go that far, if you want to make a whole campaign out of deal with this or it will deal with you, go ahead. How big can the Warframe groups become? I don't remember setting a limit, Vlad, to be quite honest with you. I don't remember setting any kind of limit. If a DM decides to put together 20 Excalibur Initiates and a Banshee Prime leader, then they go for it. Sorry, Gorilla. There's no such thing as fairness in this. These are just the stat blocks, Jason. These are just stat blocks. 20 Excalibur Initiates is perfectly legitimate. And in fact, that'd be quite a curious one. For the Excaliburs, maybe not so interesting, but if you mixed in, some of the other frames, if you just grabbed yourself 20 random frame Initiates and just let them loose on the party, it doesn't matter what level your party is at, they're going to be scratching their heads going, how the fuck do we deal with this? Well, they look so similar, all humanoids in weird armors, but they're all doing crazy things. That guy's just running around at the speed of light, zapping people. Meanwhile, there's this other one over here that's just got a sword but dashed across the entire battlefield. And then there's this one over here that is just punching people. Why is he punching? Atlas, go burr. Just imagine the Warframes swarming in like the Infested. I mean, it's very fitting. It is definitely very fitting of them. I don't see why they wouldn't. So yeah, a limited number of Warframes can turn up. The idea is that usually they should be alone or have companions rather than other Warframes. So things like a Beast companion or a Construct companion or a Summon companion through some ritual they might have. But if it really comes to it, if the Warframe decides it wants your stuff and you're still not giving it the stuff, well, it's going to call in some help. Mass Swarm Titanians. Oh, God. That's a stat block to finish this all off, isn't it? Swarm of Titanias. Challenge rating 40. Because they're all using their 4th ability, so of course they're all high level in them of themselves. Oh dear God, could you imagine that? That's not a stat block anymore. That is just rocks fall, everyone dies here. And it's these kind of laughs that make people think I'm an evil DM. No, I'm genuinely fair. Mostly. 99% of the time. If I roll a 1 on the D100, it's not a good day for you. This whole discussion is like finding a zombie spawner in Minecraft when you only have a stone sword. Oh, come on. Zombie spawners are nothing. Zombie spawners are nothing. Do swarm type monsters exist in 5th edition? Yes, they do. Yes. I'm just in tune with my devilish side. I'm in tune with whatever side is most appropriate for the situation. Also, why does that say spell, not spells? God damn it. God damn it. Let's fix those. There we go. Okay, so damage stats is where we're at. 42 to 84 from that, 21 from this twice, 21 becomes 42. Basically, it's 42 times 5, which is... Is it? No, it's not. 42 times 4. Confused myself for a moment there. Which comes out to 168. And my aim across 3 rounds for challenge 14... a bit lower than that. That's saying 210, that's saying 180, 168. That is on the lower end. That's good, that's where I need it to be. That's bang on. Sonic Boom is a strong opener, but then Banshee is reduced to light crossbow, but Banshee also has this silence ability available, so, you know, Banshee can still do loads. That's called 18NOV Devils, so being in tune Devilish style makes sense. Yeah. Lo-fi beats to torture players too, please. Quintus, absolutely. How you doing as well, Quintus? Hope you're doing well today. Let's grab that lo-fi. Now we'll turn the volume up slightly on that one because that plays always a bit quieter. You should probably stop typing. No. Keep giving me the ideas. It's brilliant. Ideas are lovely. You always gotta have great ideas. Let's Titania fight. Anytime she gets to half health, she instantly nopes the hell out. I mean, Titania's not going to be a fair fight. Yeah. Titania is not going to be a fair fight. Alright, so let's make sure all of these stats are correct, especially as I just talked about the plus 7 damage on this. It's actually 8 damage total. Come on. The plus to hit is a 9. Plus to hit 9. Total damage here is going to be 7 because this is a plus 4. So that's 24, 48. Plus 42, 90, 132. Wait, yeah, I added up everything wrong earlier. God damn it. It wasn't even close to the damage that I was talking about. What am I on about? I've got 3 attacks of 8 twice. Plus I've got a attack of 42 twice, which comes to 132. Yeah, what am I talking about earlier? 132 is nowhere near where I need to be. 132 is here. That's... I think that's too many challenge ratings down. Because silence is strong, but it's not that strong. That's too many challenge ratings down. I think it's time for legendary actions. Am I planning to add Eidolons? I hadn't planned to at this point, no, Vlad. I'm only on to the 6th Warframe, and this is week 5 of this, so... No, I'm not planning to do Eidolons at all. It's not part of the plan. If I had enough support on making these, then sure. I'd be able to give more time to it. But the moment I can just give the streams, basically. If the votes stop happening first on the streams, the document stops till such time it comes around again. So yeah, this damage isn't quite adding up. 132. How far off am I from where I want it to be? 180. So I need about 50 more damage. About 50. This, if I allowed it to happen 3 times, would be 24. So 3 legendary attacks of that would be too much. I could give legendary attack of a cost 1 for short sword and cost 2 for the light crossbow because of the range. Because Banshee really doesn't want to get it in close in the first place. So I could do that. Oh, Quintus moon mining. 30. Yeah, I think that's the way I'm gonna have to go on the legendary actions. I think I'm decided on that. So if I go legendary actions, let's just copy over the information on legendary actions from a prior frame. Just to start the information off there. So the Banshee, capitalized. The Banshee can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. The Ash? How did it say Ash in there? Oh no. Oh, balls to it. And this is why you see errata and stuff. God, that one slipped me by. There we go. Oh, that would be cruel, Jason. That would be just cruel and wrong. Yeah, no, let's not do that. Okay, so we got the legendary actions. So now we just need to define what actions we have, which is a triple star again. Right? Yeah, it's triple star. And the brackets is inside of it. Cool, cool. We are really fighting over the music today, aren't we, guys? There you go. That's up and running. Alright, so, hide. Banshee takes the hide action. Pure and simple. We got short sword. Banshee makes one attack with its short sword. Now, is this safe leaving this as one action? Because usually Banshee doesn't want to be within close proximity, and if they are, they're already getting low damage anyway. So that is safe as a legendary action to have. Light crossbow, however, I'm making two actions because it's just that much more effective. One attack with its light crossbow, which I think should be okay. I think that should be okay in terms of balance for the legendary actions. I mean, how does that feel to you, chat? How does that feel? How about Disco Squad? Octavian Mirage Vorban? Yeah, that could get crazy. You've got have Revenant in there as well. Oh, this Gorilla mentioned. Yeah, I think this should work as a Banshee Master. You've got your Soundless Form, Sonic Boom, got the increased range on it, got the increased damage, got the increased DC, Sonar, increased range. Still the same crit range on it though, because it's not the Prime. Don't want to take that step just yet. Silence, which is just devastating, and that's intentional. We've got the spellcasting resort today. You've got Sonic Boom, Sonar, and Silence, all one cast each. Got the multi-attacks available, and we got the legendary actions to add it all together. I think that balances out. Still on the weak side in terms of actual DPS, but that's the point. Banshee's supposed to be a support. Give them that attacker watches everyone dies. Yeah, no, let's not do that. Banshee doesn't need a repeating crossbow this time. Oh, like that. Why did that EDM stop as well? What? Hold on. What? That's a different track. Yeah. Alright, I'm just gonna... One sec, let me see. What the hell happened there? And it doesn't want to tell me because it hit the next track. Oh, god damn it. Whatever. Some of the music playlists, sometimes when I run them, I have it set up so that it has a 10-second crossfade from one track to the next. Because a lot of tracks, for some reason, just have this long fade out, especially the synthwave ones. And it's like, come on. But sometimes what happens is that it gets that 10-second fade out and then just stops. I was like, where's the other track? It's just not there. I don't understand why it happens, it just happens. It seems to happen most on the rock playlist, but now the EDM's doing it as well. I don't understand it. It's beyond me. So yeah. I think I'm happy with Banshee Master. It'll need testing to do any more edits beyond that. How about a Steel Path mode where all stats are doubled? You know what, I'll pass on that, Vlad. I'll pass on that. If a DM just wants to double up all the stats, they can go for it, but I'll pass as just designing that as a thing. Want us to test a rock one? We don't need to test the music on the stream, guys. Come on now. I know there's an issue, but that doesn't mean immediately jump to taking my stream into the simulacrum. Seeing what we can break. Plus no, we're trying to make Warframes here. Not a mess. God damn it, I did the wrong page. Alright, so we are on to the Banshee Prime design. And that one's going to be a bit of a doozy. That is going to be a doozy, so let's make it happen. Challenge rating, I'm going to go for 19. It's still lower than the 20 I did for Ash. Banshee's coming out on the lower side, and that's fine with me. So, challenge 19, we're wanting 18 AC, around 270... Oh, I didn't do the health. I always forget to go back and do the bloody health. I also haven't done saves the entire time. One moment. Need to fix a couple things. Banshee Adept gets a saving throw. So long as that doesn't push anything off the page. Nope, it didn't. Good, good. Saving throws, I'm going to give them Wisdom. And then on the Master... saving throws. Inton Whiz? Yeah, Inton Whiz. There we go. Alright then. So we just need to fix up the hit points here, because that never got done. Did these get done? Yeah, I like it did get done in the end, didn't it? Weird. So aiming for 95, I've got D8 plus 2, which is 6.5. Comes out to 30. Bang on 30. There we go. That was painless. Alright, Banshee Prime. Wait. Yeah, Banshee Prime, aiming for around about, as I said, 18 AC, 270 health. Okay. That's our aim. Bring music into Simulacrum and find out it's client side and fails to aggro. Oh, please don't. Please don't bring me back to that, Ladybug. Please don't bring me back to that. I ranted at those hours after that stream because Jesus Christ. That did my head in. That really did. Actually, I've had worse. Well, not worse. Similar. I've had similar with the Simulacrum today. You guys might remember when I did the stream about the Sentinels about a week or so ago. Remember that? And I covered how Worm, very confusingly, didn't seem to block the heat proc from an Arson Xmas. And we figured out, hang on, what's actually happening is it's blocking the knockdown, which is putting it on cooldown, and therefore it's not blocking the heat. You remember that? Well, I went to go re-demonstrate that today, just as part of game recordings for the upcoming video. And here's what happened. First, when I was in a mission, an Arson Xmas hit my frame. I did not get knocked down, and I didn't get a heat proc. I was like, that's a bit weird. So I left them alive, let them reset, came back to them. They did it again. No knockdown, no heat proc. Hang on. I tested this. Why has it changed? So I took that frame over to the Simulacrum. And once again in the Simulacrum, the same thing happened. No heat proc, no knockdown, negate pops in, and blocked both of them. So I switched back to Lavos, which is what I tested with the first time on stream. And Lavos didn't get knocked down, but did get hit with the heat proc. I'm like, hang on. Is this something special to the frame I was using? I was using Hydroid Prime. And so I switched back to Hydroid again, like, okay, this is weird, what's going on? And this is where I lose my sanity. When I switched back to the exact same build I was using, Hydroid then got hit with both the knockdown and the heat proc. Negate failed to negate anything, and that happened 3 times in a row. And I'm losing my sanity at this point. Very much losing my sanity. So I leave the Simulacrum, assuming it's just bugged out that my Sentinel has quit operating. I go back into the Simulacrum. I spawn in the Arson Xmas again, still using Hydroid, still using the same everything. And this time, no knockdown and no heat proc. It's at random! Sometimes it's blocking both, sometimes it's blocking neither, and sometimes it's blocking just the one. And Wolvens, you are lost. Today is a Friday. So, I'm just going to stick with putting the information as it's supposed to be in the video, and I'll just have a note on screen. Sometimes bugs out, does one or neither. I was thinking it might have been a hidden feature of Hydroid. They might have hidden. Oh, by the way, did anyone never notice? He got no heat procs on him. Uh-oh. I thought maybe I would discover something like that. Just like how Banshee turning off abilities and Nova's damage reduction were hidden things for ages. But no. No, it wasn't that. It was a bug. A bug that hits at random. I just... That would be a cool hidden passive. It would be a great passive. Hydroid, immune to heat procs. Just straight up immune to them. With Arson Xmas as a thing, that'd be cool. It's not that powerful, but it'd be cool. But no, it was a bug. And it's a bug that I can't properly replicate, so you know what? I'm just going to mention it in the video and leave it at that. D, you can figure out that one. I haven't got the sanity to do that myself. What I have got the sanity for is sorting out Banshee Prime. So, stats need to go up +1 across the board. I can do that very easily by just going like so. Dex is now at 20, it's a +5. Con is now 16 for a +3. Int is now 22 for +6. Wiz is now 20 for a +5. And Charisma has risen to a whopping 10 for a 0. Why is it the 2 Warframes that are the 2 most trash ones? Eurelia is getting sorted out, kinda. So that could be good. The biggest problem with Eurelia is that Eurelia was designed to be the girl on the skateboard and everything else was secondary. That is so painfully clear in Eurelia's design. Even down to the point of having a critical buff to secondaries, but her signature secondary weapon isn't a crit weapon. It was so clear that Eurelia was just the girl on a board frame. That was her design. The rest of it just kind of happened. Even the quest is, she's a girl on a board. Her appearance in the storyline of the quest, oh look, the girl on the board has appeared. Wow, look at her go. Oh, she got caught by the bad guy. Cute, but not in a good way. Exactly as Quintus has just reminded us there. Thank you very much, Quintus, for the 200 bits. Yeah. Cute, but not in a good way. And the Hydroid is more just a victim of time. Hydroid, once upon a time, had a place. His place has kind of vanished because he has basically no defense. Very little offense. Crowd control is lacking. He's got parts of a good frame, but it's just not strong enough. You can't scale him up to deal with modern Warframe. And they added plus 100% strength to his one's augment. I still don't understand that. Someone looked at Hydroid's usage. Someone looked at Hydroid's stats. Someone looked at Hydroid's augment and went, alright, this needs upgrading. Corroding Barrage is not good enough. We need to improve it. How can we improve Corroding Barrage? I know. Let's give plus 100% strength specifically to Tempest Barrage. That's the change they made. It boggles the mind. I don't understand why they looked at him and went, yep, this is what that augment needs. Not even the ability itself. The augment needed that, is what they decided. No. No one needed that. No one asked for a little bit more damage on Tempest Barrage as part of the augment. Yeah. They did say augments first, then the frame reviews? Yeah, but they didn't even review the augment as far as I'm concerned. No one looked at it and said, that's the problem. We just need to give it a teeny tiny bit more damage. No one said that. I would love to see where they got the information from. That's what should have been the buff. It would have made more sense to have just skipped it over if they didn't know what to do. Because adding that on just threw him aside, frankly. Alright, we got Int Wiz. You know what? I'm going to go full on the mental stats here. Int Wiz Char. Let's figure out what these should be. The proficiency at 19. What's that supposed to be? goes up every 4 levels, starting at 5th is 3, 9 is 4, 13 is 5, 17 is 6. There we are. So the int saving throw is a plus 12. Good luck hitting through that one. Plus 11 on the whiz. Good luck hitting through that one. And the char is plus 5. Banshee's weak spots are diminishing quickly. How would Cora and Valkyrie interact together? In ways that we cannot show on stream. That's how I'm going to put that one. Alright, what skill am I going to add in? We've got Acrobatic, Perception, Sleight of Hand, Stealth, the Banshee. Banshee is very caster focused. You know what, Arcana. Sod it. Arcana doesn't go there in the alphabet though. It goes over here. And that is a plus 12. Acrobatics is a plus 11. Oops, I did plus plus. Perception is a plus 11, Sleight of Hand is plus 11, and Stealth is a plus 11. There we are. Which means Passive Perception 21. Have fun with that one. Challenge 19 is not that much XP. Challenge 19 is 22k. Beautiful. Bullet Jump, it's a prime, so it becomes a triple distance. 3 times the distance. So the vertical base of that is 6 feet, so triple that is 18 feet. Horizontal base is 16, so that becomes 48 feet. Alright, I'll come back to the other spells in terms of scaling them up in a bit. Soundquake. Spell. 1 action. Last for up to a minute. If Banshee wants to hold it that long. And concentration. So silence and Soundquake can't happen at the same time. Which is a balancing factor. Vlad, cheers. You brought me that one so early. That's why. Do you want this one? I've just received another tea, chap. Here's the thing. I got this tea at around about 7:30. So I now have just received this one. Oh, God, that's hot. Thank you. Ow. I should use the handle. I just received this one here as well. I think they wanted some tea downstairs, and I've just been given more. They just came in, immediately burst into laughing, saying I've just finished the first one. Ah, that was a very fresh cup of tea. I should not have held it by the side of the mug. That was my mistake. Quintus, thank you. I'm going to take 3 proper gulps from that, because apparently I'm going to need the hydration. If I'm being handed this much drink, I should be getting through it, shouldn't I? Right. Well, that was the thing. That was the thing. Anyway. I've pulled back the curtain. You see, it's no longer magic. It's not just appearing. I do get brought the teas. Yes. They're lovely. So, Soundquake. 1 action spell, 1 minute concentration. I'm going with the the unaugmented version here of Soundquake, just so we can constantly put out the channeling waves. So, Banshee redirects all the suppressed sonic energy into the ground. Yeah, just Banshee redirects all the suppressed sonic energy into the ground around her. Let's just start with that as the opener, because every spell needs an opener. Spells which just talk about what they do mechanically are boring. Have an opener. Greta saying, just in case you missed it, a sort of way to do Soundquake and it half-fires me. Picture remote, a giant AoE grease spell that deals some small damage but causes saving throws to not be prone. Must make strength saves to move closer to Banshee. I'm going with a similar approach, but not quite. The idea is, one, you can get knocked prone just by starting your turn in the area or entering the area. Two, moving through the terrain requires another save as well, otherwise knocked prone. But it's on the ground, so if you're flying, you're fine. Three, there is the damage being put out every single round. But for Banshee to do that, though, Banshee needs to channel this. So Banshee is going to go prone to channel it. And has to stay in that form. But yeah, Banshee can absolutely just make the entire ground a big ol'... Just, no. You want it to move? No, you're falling. It's not quite the same. I'm not going for the... I don't think it'll be... Will it be strength saves? No, it'll be dex saves. Acrobatics. It's on dex. It wouldn't be strength. Yeah, it would be dex. Which makes it easier to handle. But it's definitely a balance thing. How's Banshee come along? We're on to the prime. Yeah, I don't think strength would be the right one here. Yeah, it's definitely a matter of balance. It's dex. Alright, Banshee redirects all the suppressed sonic energy into the ground around her. Dropping prone in the process. This creates an aura. Radius. Let's just go 90 feet. Let's just make it big, because if you have a look at the radius on it normally, in-game, as it were, Soundquake, range 20 meters? Pretty, I thought it was further out than that. I suppose, the augment adds range, doesn't it? Yeah, it's actually on the lower end. Never mind, I'll scale that back then. Never mind. It was the augment that added so much range. 60 feet. Not 90, 60. My bad on that one. I thought it had more range, but I'm misremembering the augment. If we look at the alternate equipment here now, Resonating Quake. Doesn't say on the mod, but yeah, adds 15 meters to the ability's base range. So that would have been about that would have been round about what? 75 feet? No, not 75. 95, 100 feet, something like that. I don't know. Everyone mods Banshee for range? Yeah. But in this case, nah. Now I'm going to stick it with the 60 feet. I'm going to stick it with the 60. I don't know what command Esri was trying to get there. Oh, roughly 100. Okay, fair enough. I thought you were trying for a command. This creates an aura with radius 60 feet, centered on Banshee. And then how do we phrase this? All ground within the aura is considered difficult terrain because so much shaking is going on. If a creature starts its turn in the radius, in the aura, and enters it for the first time on a turn, or attempts to move 10 feet through the area. Is Twitch shutting down? I've not heard about Twitch shutting down as yet. Twitter is in a very bad spot, management-wise, but it's not shutting down announcements yet. Not that I've seen. The office, however, is closed all weekend, which is really weird. It's prone condition, part specifically to give a vulnerability during the channeling. It's actually a positive, Jason. Because if you are not next to Banshee, you have disadvantage to hit Banshee because it's a range attack by that point. Prone is advantage to melee, disadvantage to range attack, so that actually works in Banshee's favour. Stops things getting closer to her, or makes it more difficult, and also dodges the attacks. So yeah. Yeah, I don't really want to get onto the Twitter thing. On the one hand, I kind of do, because it's juicy gossip, but at the same time, frankly, there's nothing positive to talk about. So I'll just stick to the Warframes and D&D. Would I consider making a future guide for Steel Path? I could make a guide for Steel Path. That's something you can pop into the suggestion channel on the Discord, and if enough people give it a thumbs up, it will go up the priority list of videos I do. Oh yes, Gorilla, I'm supposed to make this really, really tough because it is challenge rating 19. You work around it. You teleport. You fly. You jump. If you're not doing any of those things, deal with it. Yeah, Spree, I have a minimal presence in Twitter, and I'm not focused on it. I've never focused on it, and I will continue to not focus on it. So, if a creature starts its turn in your aura, enters it for the first time on a turn, or attempts to move 10 feet through the area, aura, it must make a DC... No, sorry, it must make a dexterity saving throw. All capital, saving throw. DC is 18. On a failed save, the creature falls prone. Yes, that is meant to be absolutely terrifyingly hard to get through. That's the whole point. In addition to this, when the spell is cast and you start of... No. In addition to this, any creature that starts... Ooh. Oh. Any creature that makes... Actually, no. How can I phrase this better? It must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature falls prone. If this is the first time in a turn the creature has failed this saving throw, just so this damage doesn't keep happening on the same turn. If this is the first time in a turn the creature has failed this saving throw, has attempted. That way I can do damage on success as well. So if this first time in a turn creature has attempted the saving throw, it takes X damage, bludgeoning or thunder. Actually, I can do both. X bludgeoning and X thunder damage on a failed save, or half on a successful save. I need to figure out those numbers in a sec. Yeah, outside the US, most of the world has a minimal presence on Twitter. I would disagree. There is quite a lot that is available through Twitter in various circles. SB asking for some ambient? Sure, let's do that. Yeah, there is a lot on Twitter. It is not just a US-focused platform, and it's not a primarily only US. There is a lot of it around the world. I know that Facebook is a bigger social media platform in certain countries and continents, and that outside of the Anglosphere, as it were, or the Western part of the world, yet other sites or social medias take their presence higher as well. But Twitter is still big all over. Grid is saying it should be probably chip levels damage because of the crowd control ability. I would actually say I don't need to hold it back that far, Gorilla, because one, it's concentration. Two, it's going to lock down Banshee, because it's going to be... I've not put it in yet, but Banshee, as I said, is channeling this, so that will be an action to maintain each turn. And enemies can just react to that. They take the issue at the start of their turn, if they're in the range of it. It's only 60 feet, remember? And then they just hit Banshee. Just hit Banshee and it's gone. If the first creature to take a turn after Banshee is, say, 90 feet away, they just go, well, I'm 90 feet, I'm in range of all my stuff. Blap, blap, blap. Banshee takes a hit, down goes the spell. Whew. Now the spell has basically had no effect. We'll have a max round limiter, so that you can stop a couple times. It's got a max of 1 minute, which is 10 rounds. And it's going to be a single cast per short rest. You're thinking 3d8? We'll see what it comes to in terms of how the mathematics breaks down the rest first. We'll see what everything else is, and then how much damage I need to fill in. Alright, so this melee attack is a plus 11 to hit. The damage has increased to an 8, which is... it's a point higher. And that is also a plus 11 to hit. This is actually a 9. There we go. Single cast 10 rounds of goddamn hell. Single cast 10 rounds if you are in the radius, which is only 60 feet at this level, and if you're on the ground, which, again, this level, and if no one decides to hit Banshee ever. If you do not hit Banshee in 10 rounds, enough to break concentration, give up. You're outclassed. Go home. Would it be sense for it to be a ritual spell, seeing as it needs full concentration? Ritual spells don't work like that in 5e Esprit. That's not what a ritual spell means in 5th edition. Or in 4th edition, for that matter. I'm thinking a tad more freely. Max 10 rounds per short rest, but broken up. That would overcomplicate it as a spell, I would say. For something that a monster is supposed to do, not a player. Alright then, so, updated the stats there. Let's see where stuff comes in so far. So we got the action Soundquake. With the action Silence, we have the action Sonic Boom. Which in themselves are actually what we can expect Banshee to do. But let's look at higher damage. Let's skip out the Silence. Let's assume Soundquake, Sonar, and then... sorry, Soundquake, Sonic Boom, and then attacks. Let's assume no Silence for the damage calculation here. I'd say I'm just imagining a group of Banshees making a coordinated quake to shake up a whole kingdom. It could happen. It could happen. As a DM, you can allow rituals to go far beyond the normal stats that both players and monsters have. Rituals can be anything in a DM's design. What's in a book is just what the players can say, yep, this exists, I press this button. A DM can invent anything beyond that. So if you decide that 4 Banshee Primes conspire to topple an entire mountain range to crush everyone below, sure, okay, that happens. That's now a campaign. Go defeat the Banshees. You have the Banshee of the North, the Banshee of the West, the Banshee of the East, the Banshee of the South. They are conspiring to crumble the caldera that surrounds the city that has been built in the bowl of an ancient mountain. Boom, there you are. You just got a campaign right there. Anyway, mathematics time. So, Sonic Boom happens, 2 targets, 42 damage apiece. Assuming we leave it there for the moment. That comes to 84 out of our budget. Okay? We then have the multi-attack happening on a different turn. 9 3 times over from the light crossbow is 27. So 84, 9400, 411. And then we've got... let's assume light crossbow and short sword. I know it's 3 short swords is higher, but let's assume light crossbow short sword. That seems to make more sense to me. So 111, and then plus 17 3 times over. 17 3 times over is 51, so 111 becomes 162. $162 damage is where we're at so far, and we need to use Soundquake to fill in the rest. Or a challenge roughly 18-17 feature. So 162 is where we're at there. And this is saying we need 270. Or 255. Let's aim for 255. We're looking for around about 90 damage, which means we want to have Soundquake put out on average 90 damage total. Given the radius, we can still say 2 creatures. Given the concentration, we can assume that it's only going to hit them once. If it hits more than that, it's because the players allowed it to happen. So I think that 45 damage total is safe to aim for. And if we split that across the bludgeoning and thunder, we can say that we're going to go for around about 22 bludgeoning and around about 22 thunder. And it just so happens that 22 is 40-10. Is the average of 40-10. I think that handles that pretty nicely. That's still just about the damage of Sonic Boom. It's just it's in that 60 foot. I mean, Gorilla, you're saying damn, but at the same time, like, Meteor Swarm. Is this going to search like that, or do I have to do it? There we are. Meteor Swarm, 9th level evocation. This is a player spell. They can do this. When it summons it down, a creature takes 20d6 fire damage and 20d6 bludgeoning damage on a failed save, or half on a successful one. 20d6 each. So that's 70 damage. That's 70. That's 140. Range 1 mile. I might be underselling it with Soundquake. Yeah, at this tier, things are supposed to be high. Like, this chart is not, oh, this is where things become ludicrously powerful. This chart is, this is where it's typical for the level. And we're aiming slightly below Banshee's level. Because Banshee's supposed to be more of a support, and Soundquake has a hell of a lot of support strength to it. Like, I'm at the point where I'm wondering if concentration might actually be wrong here. Mile long spell? Yeah. The range is 1 mile. The actual damage is in a 40-foot radius sphere. So that's 80 feet from side to side. And you choose 4 different points. So it's 4 meters, bap, 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 bap. Anywhere within a mile of you, you can put those 4 spots. And each spot is 40 feet radius. Yeah. I'm removing the concentration. I'm removing the concentration. Banshee's already going to have to use an action to maintain it, I'm going to say. So yeah, I'm going to cut that out. If you want to stop Banshee from using this spell, continuing it, get out of the radius or get into the sky. Make Banshee want to stop, you don't force them. That's the way I'm seeing this one, yeah. Cheers, Korokop. Maximus saying, hey Ken, I was going to stay, but I was off to watch Breaking Bad, so just left stream on. How's it going? Hey, it's going alright. Hope you had a good time with the breaking of the bads. 1 hour ahead. Yeah, if you kill the Banshee stops as well, yeah. Banshee must... will have a successful save. While this spell is active, Banshee cannot move. Okay. While the spell is active, Banshee cannot move and must use its action each turn to maintain the spell. Otherwise, the spell immediately ends. Actually, whilst the spell is active, Banshee cannot move, cannot take legendary actions, and must use action each turn. And yeah, that actually even weakens the damage a bit. Otherwise, the spell immediately ends. Yeah. I think that covers it. That's no war with Banshee. Banshee drops prone, channels the energy, shakes the ever-loving hell out of the ground. If you are within range, it's going to strike at you, and strike at you, and strike at you. Get out of it. I think that should be okay. So let's assume Banshee drops this down, gets 2 creatures with it, hits the damage on them on their turn. They both take 44 damage, that's 88 damage taken. Can it be jumped over? Yeah. This creates an aura. Radius 60 foot, centered on Banshee. Yeah, I should say, if a creature starts its... If a creature on the ground... There we go. If a creature on the ground starts its turn in the area, in the aura, enters it for the first time on a turn, aura attempts to move 10 feet through the aura, 10 feet across the ground in the aura. There we go. In the aura, it must make such and such. If you jump up, will it stop the ability? Should still be prone. Yeah, she'd still be prone. That's a no, not a problem. You really don't want to be on the ground anywhere near Atlas or Banshee? You don't want to be near Warframes generally, really. Only idiots become adventurers. Let's be real about this. Only the idiots and the desperate become adventurers. You don't want to be there. Ever. You don't want a dragon bearing down on you. You don't want a beholder setting off laser beams which can disintegrate you. You don't want a mind flare going woo and turning your brain into mush. You don't want to be an adventurer. You pick it if you are some way disadvantaged in the mind and believe it's actually a good thing, or you're desperate and trying to save yourself, or save your society, civilization, entire plane of existence from something. Adventuring life is a terrible life. Most people that go for it die. That's just how it goes. Because fights aren't fair. We create games where there is a seeming semblance of fairness, but ultimately, some people pick up the adventuring life. We gotta stop that dragon. I don't know how, but we gotta go stop him. They go up to the dragon's cave. The dragon's like, oh, cool, commoners. Blech. And there's no more commoners. What if you enjoy pain? Then I don't need the details, Max and Madge. Let's go with that. What if you fall over for mind flight? Again, I don't need to hear the details, Esprit. No. No. Or you're a barbarian and think is not required? That falls under idiot. See, it's a pretty robust take I'm going with here. You know, it's not a hard take whatsoever. Question, how would a barbarian experience the bludgeoning damage from this spell? Full damage or no? If the barbarian has resistance to bludgeoning damage from magical sources, then they resist it. And they do, I believe, get resistance to bludgeoning, so they would resist half the damage, but the thunder damage they need to resist elsewise. Which certain barbarians can. That's part of the point of splitting it to bludgeoning and thunder, is that you can't just block one or the other. And it's also more thematic that it is. It gives you the idea of the very ground just rocketing around as all of this pent-up, suppressed energy just floods through it. Become a barbarian, serenade Banshee with fists. Oh, for goodness sake. Ronnie was saying, just an idea, could be stupid. What if Banshee were vulnerable to thunder damage due to constantly being quiet and not being used to loud sounds? Honestly, I'm going to pass on that one. If anything, I would want to give Banshee resistance to thunder damage, rather than vulnerability to it. Banshee Prime specifically, because the Primes are the ones that give resistances to. I get where you're coming from, the whole constantly being quiet, but it's more that Banshee's ability to just shut that stuff down. Banshee has control over sound. Banshee is not vulnerable to sound. Banshee uses it. It decides where sound is and isn't. As I put in the primer for this all, Banshee's a master of sound waves, able to manipulate them both offensively and defensively. Yeah, I wouldn't say invulnerability. That's definitely going to be the resistance here. Where do I put resistance on the page? I forgot. Atlas Prime. Damage resistance and condition immunities, they go down here. That condition immunity, I'm not going to carry over the Prime one to Banshee Prime. That part of Prime Sure-Footed isn't happening. But, restrained, yeah. So condition immunity restrained, and then damage resistances, carry that over to Banshee. I forgot where that was under. That goes under skills. So we got, oops, dash, condition, condition immunity. And that is just restrained. Do we also give Banshee deafened instead? Like immunity to deafened? I think I do, yeah. Banshee can't be deafened. Banshee has too much controller heart. So instead of immunity to prone, Banshee's immunity to deafen. That balances that. And then damage resistance. Thunder. Boom. Banshee deafens herself anyways? Well, no. Banshee silences herself, not deafens. Difference. Soundless form. Deafens is the ability to perceive other sounds. And also sounds result, but just to perceive sound. As I'm saying, I remember my first adventuring terrible moment. One of my characters, their bones turned inside out on their arms. Oh god. Thought she was a warforged for half the mission, then watched a friend and the metal pet left behind by a tormentor slaughtered with some giant worm thing acting as their employer before betraying them. Good lord. Well, fair enough then. Yeah, that doesn't sound fun. I've had all kinds of ways that players have retired characters. They've gone, right, this character's done in one way or another. I've had it where a player has gone, actually, my character has earned the money they were looking for. They go home to their family. They've got the money to restore their house. That's all they came out adventuring for. Off they trot. In comes a new character, new storyline and whatnot. Had one that said, actually, my character, they didn't sign up for all of this. They've got PTSD from what's gone down. They're out. Just, they're out. Those are some of the more normal ways out. Others who have had characters end. One was carried away by a dragon and eaten. One fell down a pit and was mauled to death by zombies. And later was reanimated into a zombie themselves. And had to be killed by their daughter. That was a horrible time. Yes, I was the DM for that one. Don't feel bad at all. Another one decided he was done with that character, didn't really have it out for them, and so decided their character had an aneurysm. Just right there and then. Between a dungeon and the town, just dead. That's a thing. I think that contributed to the PTSD of the character that retired from that group later on. Another time, same player got tired of yet another character, and so decided his new character came in from left stage, as it were. At full speed, a flying dragon kicked the old character into the moat of lava below them. Yeah. This guy didn't really stick with characters very much. He wanted to try out different things, and certainly found ways to get rid of the old one permanently. He did ask if somehow the one he dragon kicked into the lava would throw off his armor onto the bridge in the process. I said no, it's in the lava, it's gone. That player sounds like a handful. They were a handful, but however, they did read and understand the rules properly, and they attended every session on time, so you know what, they were good to play with. But yes, they did not really get into the roleplay, more of the dice roleplay. That was more their thing, and that's fair enough. Everyone has a different way of playing. Everyone has a different way of playing. Yeah, various bits and pieces of how people have just kind of left the scene. One character... What was it? Yeah, one character killed in an unfortunate encounter. It wasn't even supposed to be a lethal encounter, but it ended up being lethal for them. They died. brought to the Temple for Resurrection, and that I made a whole session out of the Resurrection, in that instead of it just being, oh, you cast a spell, you're back, made it more difficult, made it more interesting to determine the effects of the Resurrection spell. And so that whole session was instead an encounter that that player's soul had with the Raven Queen, a god in, or goddess I should say, in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, so designed. And the Raven Queen basically challenged the players, as it were, to 4 different scenarios which represented or related to different traits that the player actually has on their character sheet. Because I took the character sheet off them, and their challenge was to find solutions which actually met the character traits as written down. Each time they didn't, each time it was too far removed, that was a penalty against them. And if they got a penalty, the person who actually ran the character had to sit out the next challenge because they were losing connection to it. Luckily for them, they only failed 1 challenge out of the 4. So we said, alright, you come back, normal penalties, but that character trait now needs to be updated. You've come back a slightly different person. We made Resurrection a little bit more interesting than the typical way of doing it. It's just a spell. As I say, my character was pulled into the party because of plot convenience, and as I played the character, he felt empty, as if he was being used by gods as a pawn. That's a feeling. That's a mood. During the campaign, he was taunted by Orcus, oh dear, offered the power to choose his destiny. It messed with his mind, and eventually he broke and was about to join Orcus. The party stopped him, but he couldn't see himself continuing the adventure with them, left to pursue his own destiny. Fair. Absolutely fair. That's a good plotline for a character right there. Carving magical runes into your bones, most magical thing any characters have done? Yeah, that'll set you up a bit, won't it? History saying rumour DMing a group of players. One of our players was annoying another player. I forgot how it got to this point, but eventually the annoyed player asked what he could do to convince the other one to kill off their own character. It ended with the annoying one slitting his own throat in the middle of the red light district. What? Right, yeah. I've had some not so good groups as well. Things along that line. One of the mistakes I made was giving a group so-called plot points. They could, once per level... No, I made it once per session. Each player had 1 plot point. Declare a plot point, and set some aspect of the plot within reason. The ways they tried to use these plot points were not great, including things such as, haha, he just had a drink, he's now addicted to alcohol. Plot point. Are we really doing that? Really? From the outside, it's funny. From the inside of, haha, I just forced your character to have an addiction. That's the best fucking plot you can come up with? No. The other guy took it and said, yeah, okay, yeah, let's go for that. Sure, why not? But also you get it as well. Oh, for fuck's sake. It was not a good day. That's not the kind of group I like to run. Exactly, Grilly. Yeah, exactly. He declared it as the tipping point or something stupid, but whatever. It was stupid. Okay, Soundquake. We've got the damage dealing. Yeah. So Banshee can maintain that. If something's in the area, they can't stop it. They have to get out of the area, otherwise they're going to continue suffering it. And getting out of the area can hurt. Yeah, I like that. Like, if Banshee manages to trap someone, if Banshee gets up close to someone, drops Soundquake on them, and they struggle to get out, it's going to tear them to pieces. They need to be rescued. But then it's challenge rating 19. It's supposed to be tough. It's supposed to be tough. So yeah, I'm fine with that. I am fine with that. Because of the strength of that one, I don't think I actually need to increase much of anything elsewhere otherwise. I'm quite happy with how the rest of it all sits, so let's just put this onto here. Which is Soundquake, brackets 9th level. Yeah, I don't need to change up any of that, really. Are these conversions based on 3rd or 5th edition? 5th edition. Yeah, this is definitely 5th edition I'm doing. Yeah, that D&D group was... that one I was referencing just a moment ago. Not the best one. Fun at times, not the best in that instance. Once we had a change of players, we kept half of them, the other half went their way, and got a couple other new people in. It stabilised into a good group. But it was a rocky start with some rocky individuals. Individuals who envisioned a different game to the one I was there to provide. Everyone thinks D&D is a bunch of nerds. In reality, it's a bunch of drama queens who are also nerds. I mean, you're not too wrong there, Esper, you're not too wrong. What I find funny, really, and this isn't my own observation, but I certainly agree with it, is that D&D is often considered by people to be a game of the nerds, the social recluses, the ones without the talents and charisma and that line of things, you know. Your shut-ins, your cave dwellers. The ones whose charisma stat is definitely on the lower end. That's the idea, and yet, it is one of the most demanding games for charisma, personal charisma, the ability to coordinate and cooperate with others, out of basically any game you can play. Did I keep the plot point system after moving players around? No, I ditched it entirely. The players have enough agency to interact with the game. I didn't need to give them a button that says, press this here and change things. If they wanted to change things, they can play their character, is the way I instead went with. Do I prefer XP per kill system or milestone system for leveling up? I prefer an XP system, but not XP per kill, because XP per kill shrinks it down to XP from kills only. I prefer an XP system because every single player group I have had has also preferred an XP system, in that they have been able to always see their progress from where they are to where they're trying to get to. They can always see the incremental movement rather than suddenly we level up. The level ups, I still have restrictions. You don't just level up mid-fight or in a dungeon, you suddenly gain new spells. That's not how it works. I always preferred having the XP system there. Crucially though, I make a point of giving out XP for encounters, not fights, encounters, and XP for quests. So if you achieve something, you get XP. If that achievement is you managed to get around something that was blocking your path without a fight, you get the XP. If that was you disabled all the traps, you get the XP. If that was you solved a personal quest you're on, you get XP. Hurrah, job done. Milestone leveling, I feel, is easy to manage, but it's hard to engage with as a player. It happens, rather than the player doing it. And I'm fine enough with handing out XP to just set things up. I know how much XP I'm giving. I'm still deciding at the end of the day, as a DM, how much XP is out there, but the players are the ones who have gone and got it, rather than being handed the level. It's a difference in the social contract that's given around it. That's the way I see it. I just realised you took the concentration off Soundquake. Now Silence can be cast simultaneously. Yes. So there is that. Silence and Soundquake can be put together. Soundquake wasn't powerful enough without it. As much as it is a nasty DC, the damage just isn't there. And Banshee is weak enough that a single tap would just ruin her. So it needed to have the concentration removed. These can happen together, but it's still stacking actions. They would need to cast Silence first and then Soundquake. They cannot do it the other way around, because Soundquake requires actions to maintain. And by that point, they could have already lost their concentration. So I don't see it's too much of a problem there, because Soundquake has its own restrictions of the action maintain. Attributes saying I do it level per event, so after a certain point in the adventure, it's reached and they get a level. Easy to balance things that way, in my opinion. If that's how it works for you, that's how it works for you. As I say, I still gave out the XP at a rate I was controlling. The players didn't get to push a button and say, give XP. I gave the XP. So, if I was balancing it and they were supposed to reach level 3 or level 10 or whatever by such a point, I gave the XP that made that happen. I designed that around to work for them. Pure and simple. But the players all the way along the way knew what they were interacting with, knew that it gave them XP. Their actions had immediate results. Even if those results were just dialing up a number a bit. And bit and bit. That was a number they changed. From their perspective. Every group I've run with, I asked that, and they always preferred XP. Both at the start, they said, yeah, we want XP. And when I checked on them, like 5 sessions later, they still liked the XP process. It's always been my experience that way. I know it goes both ways, people, but that's been mine. You're very right, Jason. Yeah, you can put D&D onto your CV if you're careful enough, or if you've got a nerdy enough employer. As we say, who'd win? A 60-foot magnitude 10 earthquake or 1 magic missile boy? Well, that's why we got rid of the magic missile problem. Yo, Dewitton, saying big fan of your Warframe vids. Help me get back into the game. Fantastic stuff. Cheers, buddy. I'm glad you enjoy it. And welcome to the Twitch stream. Oh. We're currently doing D&D meets Warframe, in that I've been making Warframes as D&D monsters, as the stream title suggests. Yeah, I need to make sure that this prime is where it should be now. So let's go through all the stats from top to bottom, including hit points for starters. 270 is the aim for the hit points here. It's a +3 from Constitution. So, 270 divided by 7.5, is that average? Yeah, 7.5. Comes out to 36 exactly. Well, that's easy. 3068 plus, and that's 36 times 3, which is 108. I did not put that into my calculator. Don't know what you're talking about. So that figures out that. We got the armor class. We got the stats, saves. Yep. Condition immunities, damage resistance, sense passive perception is 21. Yep, that's correct. XP is correct. Proficiency is correct. Bullet jump 3 times and done. Yep. Soundless form doesn't change. Sonic boom hasn't changed. DC has been updated. Sonar hasn't changed. And it should have. So, yes, this was one I said I was increasing. Increase crit range by 2. There we go. Yeah, that's okay. Spell, drowns out stuff. Keep the radius. Yeah, don't make any changes there. It just exists as is. Soundquake, we've gone arduously through the details on that one. I'm happy with it. The damage seems to be in a good spot there. It challenges the players, get out or get done. So that is good. Innate spell casting, you can cast each of these. Yep, that's all correct. Just 1 per short rest each. Don't need to overcomplicate that one. Multi-attack. And we got legendary actions, which are locked out of Soundquake. If you are doing Soundquake, you are not legendary actioning. Yeah. That's Banshee. Unless I'm missing anything, chat, that looks like a Banshee to me. That is a completed one. How are we feeling on that? I don't think we need to do anything more with it. Yeah, just works. Alright, Vlad, you take care. Have a good one. All the way through, this Banshee is a support, so the AC and hit points are lower than they should be for their challenge rating. Their damage output is lower than it should be for their challenge rating, but the riders, the extras they have, the knockback, the spell denial, the ground shaking, all of that changes the battlefield. They're very much a controller support rather than DPS, tank, flank, any of those ones. This is going to blow your spine to bits. Oh yeah, that's kind of the idea, isn't it? It's kind of the idea. And let's face it, when you're at 19th level, a 19th level party coming across this, it's a medium encounter. 19th level, they go, oh, there's a Banshee Prime. Oh, excellent. I've been looking forward to taking down one of these Warframes. Too bad this one's on its own. But if you get Banshee Prime supported with a couple other Warframes around them, you go, all right, shit, that one's a Warframe. Those two are Warframes as well, but that one's slightly gold. It's got gold trim on it. Do we know what the one this is? Everyone rolls their checks. Okay, we don't know what one this is, but it's got gold on it. So that's probably going to be Big Nasty. Let's see what it does. Let's try and fight them. Start focusing on the Big Nasty. Big Nasty casts its spell first. And the party, they're more than 60 feet away, so nothing seems to happen. Like, okay, it did a thing. Cool, it's our turn. Spell it. Spell! Nothing. What? Fireball! Nothing. What? And then they get in closer. And realise why nothing was happening. Rennie was saying, just got off call where the call was having echoes, determined a faulty wire was increasing the gain when speaking. Oh dear, that's weird. Detect magic is a great call. That's all. I mean, detect magic will just tell you, yep, these things have magic. Good luck. How many rounds does silence last? 10 rounds, but it's concentration. It's 1 minute, it's 10 rounds. It's 6 seconds per round. Does anti-magic field come up on detect magic? Good question. Does it say in here? Doesn't say anything on detect magic in here. Spells and other magical effects except those created by an artifact are suppressed in the sphere, but detect magic isn't in the sphere. Detect magic is yourself identifying magical zones beyond yourself. So you would see this abjuration aura. Or you'd see this aura, this just sphere around Banshee appear if you had detect magic active. And then you could spend an action, I believe it is, on detect magic to go, okay, what is that? For your duration, you can sense the magic within 30 feet of you. Ooh, you'd have to be not in the zone, but within 30 feet of the zone. So you wouldn't even be able to see the full thing. You would just see part of the sphere. And you're like, oh god, that's big. What is it though? And then if you use your action... Oh wait, you don't know, you wouldn't... You'd sense the presence. Sorry, let me wind this back. You sense the presence, and if you use your action, you can see a faint aura. So yeah, wow, okay. So if you're within 30 feet of the edge of the anti-magic zone created by silence, but not actually in it, you would sense this magic popping up. And then if you use an action, you just see this wall, this faint wall shimmering in front of you, and you just can't see how far it goes because it's just that big. Guys? Don't go in there. Whatever she's done, it's big, it's nasty, I don't like it. Does the quake penetrate walls? It's an aura? I would assume that doesn't have a limit on it, but it's a good shout to say that... A bit. This creates an aura with radius 60 feet, centered on Banshee. Penetrating all obstacles. All physical obstacles. There we go. We'll make that change there. Penetrating all physical obstacles. That makes it clear then. It will just keep going through. Because it's still a ground-based effect. If you're above it, you're fine. This is pretty much a circular aura. It accounts for terrain, but it's functionally circular. Rather than if you are hovering 60 feet above Banshee, things go wrong. That's not going to happen, though. I'm going to say, as always, you detect a void in the magic if you're near one, or you feel yourself blinded for a moment as you lose sight of the magic around you if you enter one on my table. I mean, there's ways of doing it. Anti-magic field is supposed to just shut off active spells. Any active spell or other magical effect on a creature or object in the sphere is suppressed while the creature or object is in it. So yeah, that would just straight up go... Jason, I cast Force Wall horizontally so I can run over the top of it. Banshee casts Silence. But you see, I'm going to have to ruin this for you, Jason. I feel like rules lawyering this already, and I'm going to. Banshee couldn't do it that way around, because if Banshee was already soundquaking you, Wall of Force to get over it, sure, Banshee can stop soundquaking to then silence you, but Banshee can't then go back to soundquake because it's once per short rest. Yeah. So if you create a new terrain that is unaffected, then Banshee will just give up on soundquake. Go, okay, that's not working, let's do something else. SB saying, second C question, I had a character that was extra and just constantly hovered instead of walking, but it was flavor. Seeing as nothing like this was in the game. How do you DM that? Well, first of all, hovering is different to walking because they're no longer in contact with the ground. So you'd have to weigh up if you actually want to give them that in the first place. It does change things slightly there. But so long as they are taking a reasonable racial approach to it, a reasonable story approach, or if you're happy to just give them that effectively minor levitation, sure, why not? It makes them otherworldly. It makes them very much stand out in most circumstances typical of a D&D setting. So that should absolutely have an impact on the social encounters they will have. People should regard them differently. They should regard them as someone who hovers. I can actually cast my mind over to game RuneScape for this one, because in RuneScape there is the Lunar Isle. Lunar Isle is an island you come across full of very magical people, and those extreme magical people, they all hover around. They don't walk around, they have just this constant flow of energy that they just float to wherever they want to go. They don't need to walk. It's just a natural part of their existence. But for their neighbours, the Fremennik, that adds to the otherworldly nature of the Lunar tribe. They are so weird and so different. Absolute shunnage. Absolute. The player becomes part of trying to bridge that gap. Alright, Grilly, you take care. Catch you later. So yeah, so long as the player wasn't just gifted it, unreasonably so, you can just work it in. And just make sure you do work it in. Including, you've got to remember also the potential drawbacks. If there's something that they'll be alerted to because of a feeling in the ground, well, they're not going to be. They're not touching the ground. If there is a tremor in the ground, they're not going to feel a damn thing about it. But otherwise, yeah, you can just play with that. As far as extra goes, that's not that bad. That's really not that bad. Alright, I'm going to wrap it up there, chat. We are definitely over time, so I'm going to wrap it up there. This has been good. We've got a fully completed Banshee here, all the way through. There are almost certainly mistakes in here that I haven't caught, so if you do catch them, let me know. I'll put this up onto the Discord sometime throughout the week. Might be tomorrow. I might get delayed by doing the video work and forget to do it for a few days. You know what I'm like. But it will be. Baruch up next on the list? Yeah, Baruch's next on the list. That's going to be an interesting one. At least I don't need to give Baruch the restraint nature of his passive in-game, in Warframe that is. At least I don't need to give him that in order to use his abilities. I can just skip out on that. I can just give him a set of abilities. Screw that whole restraint thing. Honestly, it's just... I'm just going to ditch that one entirely. That's too much busy work for a pen and paper setting. But the rest of Baruch, oh yeah, that's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a very defensive one, I think. Very defensive overall. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Baruch insert monk. Yes, but also no, but yeah, we'll get there. We can do Baruch Prime before DE. Yes, absolutely. All right then. That's where we're going to wrap it up, chat. Thank you very much for joining me on this one, and I'll look forward to seeing y'all on Sunday for some more Warframe. Until then, you have a very, very good time wherever you are around the world, whether it be work or not. Hopefully not, but I know some of you are. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.